Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to a brand new week of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. So glad that all of you are here because we're going to have a wild night talking about angels, communication, and getting in touch with our Zen and our Chi. Nancy Yearout is here tonight, and we're going to get into it. A lot of it. And you're going to have fun. I promise. Yep. Even Tim's happy in studio right now. Hey, Tim. All right. Good. So let's get right to it, shall we? Let us say hello to our good friends in the chat room. We got SJ in the gold medal position. Tim Mothman in his goatee with a silver. Race fan taking home a lowly bronze medal tonight. Luscious Jules, how you doing? Luscious Jules will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Kitty Caddywhack, Frankie B, Laura Lobbs, Road Flare, nice to see you. Deborah Rooney, nice to have you here. Les Paul Holland strumming away on his guitar collection down in Australia. Brown Dwarf and T-Bone, my man. How you guys doing? Captain K-Rod. Abbott Hoffman, how you doing? Why is this isn't on my homepage? Well, I don't know. All right. And be kind out there, Abbott. You're pushing the limits on your comments. Stephanie Kenny Blankenship, how you doing? Bard Madison, Lee the Bee, Mel WD40 is here, lubing us up for tonight's show because you always want to go into a show nice and smooth. You don't want that rigidness when you're talking angels and contact. They don't like that. They want a smooth show. That's why we lube up each and every night. Mama Catherine, mwah, I love you, my mama. I hope you're having a great night, and I hope you had a wonderful day, and the same for tomorrow. Eternity Eternal, how are you? And Karen in the Woo Train is back. Karen in the Woo Train will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. Lee the Bee, Super Knower, how you guys doing? Thanks for coming on in. And let's continue on with, let's see here. Scrolling on down. Esfermet, what's happening? And little Timmy James in the chat room. Jessica S. How are you? Nice to see you. Sweet Donna C. And Chris. Teen, how you doing? Nice to see you. Moving on. And who's next? John Lamb. Nice to have you here. And Millennium, my man. Matthew Goodka, good to have you all here. Ethanol, Kimberly Burgess, and Yennefer with a soft J. Nice to see you. And let's start the radio side. Let's just get that side going. What the hell? Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We're glad to have you here. Nancy Yearout is our guest tonight. We're talking angel communication. We are in a roll call on our YouTube channel right now. Hi, Search and Destroy. How are you? Ms. Mary, looking lovely tonight. Necessary Dialogue, thanks for coming on in as we scroll on down and we are running out of time. And Hillbilly Herb, good to see you. Algaray over on Twitch, so excited to talk angels. He did 1,500 chin-ups in under 2 minutes. Under 2 minutes. Guy is jacked for tonight. Jay Truth Seeker, nice to see you. Political Foolishness, good to have you here. Lulu Bell, looking lovely tonight. Vanessa, thanks for coming on in. High Operation Shutdown. Lewis McCaskill, welcome to our chat again. How are you? And in the studio. And who's next? Who's next? I don't know. Beelzebub, he's got a devil put aside for me. For me. Horns up, let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I'm your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out Bubblegum, read the newswire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a power show of awesomeness tonight. Author, podcaster, researcher, communicator, Nancy Yearout is going to talk about what it is like to talk with the angels that are out there. We are communicating with the heavens tonight on this show. And, well, we're going to see where that goes. Because we all got a spirit guide. You got a spirit guide. You got a spirit guide. You all got a spirit guide. Yeah. We're going to find out from Nancy in just a minute. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller is here with another creepy story. Then little Timmy James will be by with the UFO report. Let's get right to it. Nancy Yearout uses her voice to uplift humanity on her podcast and YouTube channel, High Road to Humanity. Each week, she brings a fresh new topic of conversation to her guests and her audience. Invaluable information and stories that enlighten and uplift humanity. Go figure with the name High Road to Humanity. That's good stuff right there. She is also a psychic empath, which I love, an energy healer, which I love, and an angel medium, which I also love. She channels Archangel Gabriel and shares his messages for humanity in her new book, A Guide to Angel Communication and Spiritual Law. Her first book, Wake Up! The Universe is Speaking to You, focuses on universal energy and how to use the energy to create the life you desire. Oh, man, if I could follow those rules. I definitely would have more sleep in my life. Nancy is a psychic empath, answering questions and divine wisdom for her clients and connecting with them with her own guardian angels. I love this. Let's get right to it. This is going to be fun tonight. Nancy, good to have you on Spaced Out Radio for the first time. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on, Dave.
Oh, we're going to have some fun tonight. We are, because, this is a topic, and in all due seriousness here for a second, this is a topic I don't think we talk too much about because it's taboo now by many people in North America to be in touch with your spiritual side, I'm going to use the word religious side, to communicate with angels and guides and everything. It just seems so taboo because we're so far down the science road that we shouldn't be doing this. Yet there are great people such as yourself who are still trying to reel in humanity a little bit and say, hey, just pay attention, man. Just pay attention. Why do you do it? Why do you do it, Nancy?
Well, we all have a guardian angel, Dave. We have an angel that comes in with us when we are born and is with us through our whole life. And, your angel is right next to you. And if we could see our angel, we would probably change how we act and what we say and what we do. but you really do have an angel that's with you, and they want to be recognized. I think that's the biggest thing. There are thousands of angels. They're God's helpers, they're Spirit's helpers, and they're out there and they're waiting for us to call on them. Because remember, we have free will. So they can't really intervene unless we ask, and they really want to be acknowledged. So it would really be nice if everyone would connect with Spirit, bring in that light, calm down a little bit, right? Connect with the earth energies and connect with their guardian angel, because really our angel has our back.
I agree with you. And you know what? One way that I do it is I love going in the forest. Just,
Yeah.
it's so amazing to me every time I do it. Doesn't matter whether the snow is falling or it's a hot summer day. It always amazes me how if you go for a drive in the forest for an hour to 3 hours, you come back and you are so worn out
Yeah.
and tired. And it's like Mother Nature literally just grabbed a hold of you and everything that was weighing you down and pulled it off your shoulders.
Yeah.
And that's not even getting out of the vehicle. That's just driving these lovely forest roads and admiring her beauty, the trees, the dirt, the grass, the animals, the rocks, everything. I mean, it sounds so 1960s hippie, but I don't mean it that way at all. It's just something that Mother Nature has a way of healing.
Well, yeah, there's energy coming up from the earth. And because we wear shoes, which is lovely, right? We've got these thick soles on the bottom of our feet. Now, before shoes, we stood on the earth and we were healed by that energy. So unless we, make the intent to walk outside, to go on the beach. I was on the beach today. It was a little cold, but I took my shoes off because I wanted to ground. And what does ground mean? It means being present, being here, being connected with nature, like you're talking about. When you do that, it really does calm. It's calming. It brings about a peace, just like when you connect. In this book, I talk about connecting to Spirit. Why? Because it changed my life so much. And I think it changes everybody once they bring in that love energy and connect. I teach people how to run the light from the heavenly realms down through their bodies and out their arms and down their legs and connect with Mother Earth, because we've lost our connection with Spirit. And so it's really important that we connect back. It's like we're little energy. We're energy centers. We're computers, and we just need to connect back to source.
How did you get started on all of this?
Well, I've always been intuitive. And then I wrote my first book, Wake Up, the Universe is Speaking to You, when I was in real estate, because I needed to draw business to myself. I was a single mom and I had to sell houses. So I had a mentor and she said, draw it in. And I said, what do you mean draw it in? And she'd say, see yourself selling houses. She taught me about affirmations. She taught me about energy and how the energy works and how whatever you put out there is what you get back. And so I learned how to manifest, and I manifested business for myself, and I was very successful. And I wanted to tell everybody, that you could do this, that you could create whatever you wanted, because it's all energy. And I started to realize these things, what you thought, what you said. And that's when I wrote the first book and started doing the podcast. And then I started interviewing people and getting even more in touch with the divine. I learned how to bring in the light, and I learned how to ground, and I learned a lot from other people. So it's been a journey, to be honest with you.
The journey that you decided to choose, and it's funny because I'll have people coming up to me. It doesn't happen as often as it used to, but over the years, I've had a number of people come up to me and say, how do you do all this? How do you get that connection? What happened to you? And, I want that for myself. And I always ask this question that was asked to me by my guru by the name of Pascal. I say, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go?
Mm.
And that always kind of throws them off because their first initial reaction is all the way. And then when you start explaining what happens when you go down the rabbit hole, that you are basically, at least in my perception of it, giving your life to the phenomenon and giving your soul to the phenomenon and allowing the soul to direct you in whatever way it takes you. It literally is a life-altering experience, both for the good and for the bad. You're going to gain, but you're also going to lose. And it always amazes me how many people who were very excited about that are now questioning whether or not this is something they should do for themselves. Do you find that when you are dealing with people who want to get into what you're doing and have all of this excitement about connecting with their higher selves and connecting with their spiritual being and potentially connecting with aliens and life force and angels and demons and everything, that most of those people are doing it because it's the cool thing to do rather than understanding that it is something that is a life-changing experience?
I think spirit has a lot to do with it. I think our evolution has a lot to do with it. For me, I didn't mention, I was connecting, but it wasn't until I went through a divorce. It's usually a death or a divorce or a loss of employment, something like that. It's a traumatic event in your life. And it was, to me, it was, I had a broken heart. And so when you hit like that kind of a situation, it's like, that's when I was connecting, but that's when I really went full force and connected. So I feel it like you have to have something happen to where it catapults you. I guess that's what I want to say. It catapulted me even further connected to God, to spirit. And I will say for my whole life, and this is really important that people know this, I grew up with a narcissistic mom. My dad was very loving, but my mom was narcissistic. So I kept looking for love in all the wrong places. I kept marrying the wrong people. I kept having the wrong relationships because I was trying to work things out with my narcissistic mother. So I would marry narcissistic people. And I'm an empath. So when you're an empath and you marry a narcissist, you lose yourself. So I kept trying to work this out, but it wasn't until I really worked on myself. And this is what you're asking me about. When you sit down and you work on yourself, okay, I've got to change my programming. I was programmed a certain way. I'm recognizing that now. I have to change it. So when you work on yourself and connect to the divine, then everything changes. You don't look for love outside of yourself anymore, Dave. You find it on the inside because you've realized that the treasure lies within. And the love I was looking for came from spirit, came from God. And now I'm fulfilled, and now I'm joyful, and now I'm peaceful. And when you have that peace, you can be aware of all the craziness that's going on in the world out there, but you don't have to buy in. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. You don't have to buy in, but it sure has its sacrifices that are made, because I think what spirit does, what we don't really recognize, is it sheds the dead weight. We
Well,
may
yeah.
not consider it dead weight,
Yeah.
but it is. I remember, one of the hardest lessons and I'm still not over it. My best friend at 28 years basically told me to hit the road because I was into all of this,
Oh,
and he didn't like it.
mhm.
So, I mean, that's just the way it is, you
Right.
know? I mean, but I look at that as a lifelong loss, but on the flip side, I look at what I've gained.
Exactly. And you will lose people. And when I have clients come to me, and that's exactly what's happening right now, especially in the last, I would say since 2020, it's really been big where there's been a lot of divorce, a lot of separation, and families are separated because one part of the family understands the spiritual awakening and they're moving towards the light, but they can't be around the narcissistic people anymore. So they have to move on and elevate themselves. And that's what you experienced too. And that's what I experienced. I thought I would be married forever, but he didn't grow with me. So I had to move forward. And actually, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. It was a blessing because I mean, I am so much more, I'm happy. I'm joyful now. Whereas before I was not very happy in my situation.
You're always on edge.
Well, yeah. I had a miserable, I really, like I said, I was looking for love in all the wrong places. And when I really worked on myself, and it's not a vain thing to work on yourself, but to thine own self be true. And, you have to work on all those. We all have stuff that's happened to us in our lives, every one of us. But, we work on ourselves, and I continue to work on myself because I want to grow. And as I grow, I have new friends.
When you went down the road of really starting to concentrate on your own personal intuition, you mentioned that you've been intuitive for life, but there comes a point where we really start to accept and get a hold of it and be thankful for it. How did that happen for you? How did you realize that it was time to get to know oneself from the inside out?
Well, I was bringing in the light, and I was meditating, and I was very, very psychic, and but I'm also an empath. And it really was when my husband came home from work, and he sat down on the couch, and I could see an imprint of a woman with long dark hair next to him. And I was shocked. I could see it. And I said, "Who's the dark-haired girl?" And he was shocked. So it was realizing my gifts. And I called every psychic I knew and said, "Is my husband cheating on me?" And they're like, "Come on, Nance." I was denying my own gifts. I didn't want to see what I could see, but Spirit was showing me, my gifts. So it's a double-edged sword. To have these gifts, it's wonderful, but I see the truth. And sometimes it's hard to see the truth. That's all I want to say.
When you see the truth, what is that like? And what I mean by that question is there is truth that we all have, but when you can see the real psychic truth, the spiritual side of a person, there is always a large difference, in my opinion, regarding that. I don't know if you feel the same way. Correct me if I'm wrong. But when you see the truth of a person through their energy and their soul, how does that different from, say, people who are not connected to their intuition when they see a person?
I have a compassion I see things differently than I used to. I realize I'm more compassionate, whereas before I would see the surface and not the underlying issue. Now I see what's going on, and I'm more compassionate towards the person.
Does it also give you the ability to know who to stay away from?
Oh, absolutely. That's been really a big deal. Oh my God. Yes. I've had a really difficult time. That's been a huge lesson for me, to learn that I'm this light, and I go, and it's like a light, and all these moths want to come to the light, and they want to latch on and take a little bit of that energy I got going on, because I bring in the light every day. So now I have this really strong energy, and yeah, people want to latch on. It's kind of scary sometimes, but I've learned how to protect myself. And it's been a while. It's taken me a while to learn this.
Since you've found yourself, what do you like about you?
I like myself. Like, I really like myself. Whereas before I just liked myself on the outside, and now I like myself on the inside. I'm a whole different person. I'm completely different than I used to be. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, since we don't know who you are or who you could you
Well,
mind a little bit more in depth on that?
Oh my God. Well, I was a real estate broker for many years, and I owned my own company, and I was very successful. And, I've been on both sides of the coin. I've been a single mom with 2 kids and nothing. And I've been a real estate agent and had a lot. And I didn't like myself very much when I was in the real estate industry. I didn't like who I'd become. I'd forgotten what it was like not to have. I had gotten, I don't know if it was snotty or I just forgot what it was like, and spirit, when you do that kind of stuff, spirit brings you right back and says, hey, we're all these souls in these bodies. So it's been a complete 180 for me. And now I have a really hard time with real estate brokers. So, it's just been, and I can't work with those people anymore because I can see through it. And I was always very honest in my business. I always helped people, but it was difficult to work with people who weren't. Does that make sense?
Oh, I think it makes complete sense. As we got about 2.5 minutes before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour.
Okay.
Nancy Yearout is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. What do you love about what you do?
Oh gosh, I love people like you that have stories to tell. Everybody has a story. Everybody has something to contribute. And I love doing my podcast because I meet people from all over the world like you do. It's so cool and you learn so much. And I like writing. I love it. And I love teaching. I'm a teacher. And so I'm passionate about this, about teaching people to connect.
Give us a quick story about someone who you've helped.
Oh, well, I've helped a lot of different people. I think what comes to mind the most is a lady who called me because she lost her daughter. And she wasn't sure what happened. And she was a young girl and she wanted to know exactly what happened and how she passed and what the whole situation was. And that's a big responsibility, I guess I want to say. Okay. And when I work with my angel stands right next to me, and I did not give her the information. The information came through me from my angel, but it was comforting to the lady. I let her know that her child did not suffer. And these are the things that people just want comfort, and they just want to know certain things. And it's rewarding and it's difficult all at the same time, but you feel like you really have helped somebody when you do these things.
And that's the importance.
Mm-hmm.
Is about selflessness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's amazing, actually. Yeah.
40 seconds here. Don't you ever wish, though, that some of that selflessness would rub back on you?
What do you mean?
That, you would get maybe, like, I know for me, let me explain it this way. For me, I find that I give a lot, but I don't get a lot back.
I will in the end. I will when I move forward.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing because I don't know if I have hope on that.
Oh yeah, you have to have hope. Oh my gosh, yes.
I know the feeling, but I'm just being honest with you. I don't know if I have hope on that.
Oh my
I'm
God.
trying.
Yes, everything you do down here, every smile, every little thing you do, every kind word makes a difference.
Nancy Yearout is here tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to get more in angel communication when we return with Nancy and her new book, A Guide to Angel Communication and Spiritual Law. Go get it today. Now, go get it.
Okay. Give me a second.
All right, we clear. I'm liking her. She's fun. She's zazzy. Mm-hmm. Zazzy. It's snowing outside the studio, in case you're wondering. resonate. I've been a loner, and it's been some of the greatest times of my life. Yes, it is snowing outside the studio right now. I think my pen is finally dying. Seriously, my pen, I think, is dying. Hold on, I gotta check my ink. I only use a certain kind of pen.
I'm the same way. Which kind? I use this one. Which one do you use?
I use a Uniball 207.
That's exactly what I use. Look.
You got the
That's
307.
so crazy. That's so crazy. I use the same pen. And I won't use any other, and they run out of ink really quick.
Well, I just happen to have about
44
here.
This is the best one, isn't it? It's the 207.
Yeah.
It is.
207.
So funny.
207. That's the only way to write.
That is hilarious. That's the pen I use. Yeah. Only those. That's the only one I'll use.
Yep. Love the Uniball.
Me too.
Yep.
That's hilarious. I love it.
Yeah. And I've got probably another 45 more in my, 35 more at work.
Oh my God.
No.
You buy them in bulk?
No. I have a company that sends them to me. I don't think you're having that.
Oh yeah, these are the ones that gotta work.
Yeah, they're like $4 a pen, man.
Yeah, they're expensive, but they're the best.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They are.
For goodness sakes. Come on here. Seriously. Stop already. Just stop. Stay up there, Sasquatch, an alien guy. Oh man.
You're on X.
I'm on X. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I'm on X. Yeah, we still got to make a residue t-shirt.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. What was the other one we got to make?
Friends don't let friends UAP.
That's right. That's right. And on the back we'll put it's a UFO.
That's right.
That's right. Rod R, welcome to SOR chat. Not too comfortable here in Missouri at the moment. Oh, how come? How come? We got about 2 minutes here.
Okay.
Just when I thought I was getting over the whole sciatic nerve thing in the right, it's fired up again. Hello, Dave.
You need to stretch.
You need to stretch.
You do. I'm a psychic.
Wayne, how are you? I actually do have a question for you about that. I just won't.
Are you talking to me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're the psychic one, right?
Correct.
I'm just the middleman here.
What do you want? What's your question?
Oh, I won't ask it on air. I don't ask personal stuff on there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No offense to my audience or to little Timmy James. Actually, little Timmy James can hear.
I wouldn't ask anything personal either. Well, no, I do. No, I guess I wouldn't. Mm-mm.
Fap, I said I was once a loner. I'm a very believe it or not, I'm actually, and this is what most people don't get about me. I'm actually a very introverted guy.
Mm-hmm.
Very introverted.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I have people around, I go the other way. Like if you come to we used to do this fan party, and like all the listeners would be around, and all of a sudden, like I would just disappear. I would. Candy, how are you? Sierra, we'll get to your question in hour 2. Thank you to Deborah Rooney ×2 and T-Bone, my man, for the wonderful super chats. It's a great way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. And here we go in 3 seconds.
Okay. I think I need to stretch.
comes the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. We're all stretched and ready up to go here on the big show. My name is Dave Scott. Angel Talk with Nancy Yearout coming on up. Well, she's got one of these book things out. Yeah, I'm teasing. She's got a great book out that you're going to want to add to your collection called A Guide to Angel Communication and Spiritual Law. It can be found online right now. Make sure you check it on out. But first, before we bring her in, I want to remind all of you that if you miss portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/spaced out radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Nancy Yearout is here. Angel communication is the topic du jour. Nancy, welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm glad you're here. I'm having fun tonight. I hope the audience is along with you. I'm going to tell you a story.
Okay.
We're going to get real deep here for a second, and I have not told my audience this yet.
Uh-oh.
And this is hard for me because I'm very open about my experiences, but I've been battling with this one because it's very personal. Okay. So a week ago Sunday, I walked into my radio studio because I do a weekly hit across the United States on Sterling every night out of the U.S., where we talk UFOs. So I walked into my studio just about 10 minutes beforehand, signed into my computer, realized that I wanted to do a bunch of work before my show or after I was done this interview. And, stuff behind the scenes, looking for more radio stations, promotion ideas, try and build some better habits. And I did the interview. I go back on my computer and my mind completely blanks to the point where I'm having an anxiety attack. And I already suffer from high blood pressure because I am, somebody who is just so healthy right now. But the last few months, I have been very alone, felt very alone. I've got a great family. I've got great friends. I've got everything that would be very positive in life. But I do suffer from anxiety and depression, and sometimes that gets the better of me. And it started when one of my good friends sold the daytime business that I work at. And he left, and some other people have taken over, which I don't really agree with the way they do things. Okay, even though I love my new daytime boss. I think he's a great guy. He's hardcore, but he's a great guy, and I get along great with him. But I felt all alone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I felt all alone for a number of months trying to figure out how I can get myself back to feeling better. Because I felt abandoned. Like for the last number of years, I've worked for the same place, the same boss, new bosses come in. It's different rules. It's different everything. Plus the stress of doing this radio show at night. I work 15, 16 hours a day. And on top of that, I have my family duties. I have my other commitments that I have to do. And I don't sleep a lot. And I know that has something to do with it. But anyways, getting back to this Sunday night, after I had this little anxiety attack, I decided that I'm going to scroll through a bunch of shorts. Couldn't remember if it was Facebook or YouTube. And out of the blue, I start getting absolutely pummeled for the next 2.5 hours on reels about Jesus and about God. And it is right out of the poem Footprints in the Sand, where The message that kept on recurring over the next 2.5 hours was like the poem Footprints in the Sand, which I always happen to have a little copy of it right here in studio, where basically it says, when you look back and only see one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you.
Right.
I did nothing that night. But and for people who don't listen, I'm not a religious guy, but I have a very strong belief in Jesus and God. That's my personal experience. It's my personal belief. And I don't push it on this show or with anybody because my relationship is personal. And it hit me, though, that for 2.5 hours, I could not pry my way from my computer because the message kept coming through. It was like this major download that was happening. And it got to the point, Nancy, where after about an hour and a half, I said, God, do you want me to quit this radio show? Because a lot of what we talk about goes against what you prophesize. And the answer, clear as day, back to me was, no, keep doing what you're doing. You're needed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I realized that I was not alone. And I will tell you, in the last week, I felt great.
Mm-hmm.
I felt my energy is up. I feel still a little bit scatterbrained. These messages that we get like this, and I don't care if anybody believes me or not. I know what happened to me. Okay. But these messages that we get, what happens to ourselves when we actually tune into them and realize that there is something there for us that we are supposed to take?
Yeah. You know, that's why I wrote this book. And that's what I was telling you a few minutes ago. I wanted you to connect because what I pick up intuitively, Dave, is that Spirit is asking you to connect. Do you mind if I take a minute and just teach everybody real quick how to connect?
Just go for it.
Is that cool? Okay, cool. So what I'll do is say a prayer. So may the light of God surround us. May the power of God protect us. May the love of God enfold us. And wherever we are, God is. I ask only God and the angels who are divine and holy come in and be with us tonight. And we ask this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen. Now, what I want everybody to do is to visualize white light coming down to the top of your head. And it's coming down through the crown chakra. We all have a crown chakra. And I want you to bring this light. You can feel it. If you visualize the white light, you can feel it coming down through your face. And visualize it coming down through your body. I want you to do this with me, Dave. Visualize this light. Seriously. Visualize the light coming down through your face, through your body, through your torso. Visualize it coming out your arms, out your fingers, down your torso, down your legs, out your toes. Visualize this white light. And then take a minute and just say, Spirit, what do I need to know? And listen. And it's the first thing that comes into your head. This is your message. This is how long it takes you to do this, as long as it takes you to brush your teeth in the morning. So you bring the light in, you run it through your body, and you say, God, what do I need to know today? And you listen, and you get that message. Now you're connected. I've just connected you to the light. You've connected yourself to the light. Now, as above, so below. So you visualize, I visualize, I have like golden cords coming out of my feet and out of my root chakra. Okay. You visualize those going down into the earth, down, 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 down. Visualize them coming out of the bottom of your feet. Take them all the way down, 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 down into the earth and anchor. We have to be present. We have to be anchored. Because if you bring in the light, you're going to be woo. But you got to anchor so you're not so out of your body. Okay. When people say ground, they want you to be here present on the earth, to live here, to be here. But you also need the spiritual. So the grounding is to be on the earth, and the light is to bring in the joy. You're bringing in the light of God, the love of God, the highest frequency there is. 528 hertz is the energy of love. You're bringing in love energy through the top of your head, and you're running it through your whole body. And that is what calms you down. And that is what regenerates you, because you're bringing in God's love. And that's what I'm trying to teach everyone to do, because when you do it, see, you're missing that. Why can't I sleep? Why am I so restless? It brings peace. It brings joy to your body. Does that help?
I feel relaxed now, to be blunt.
Good. But I do this every day. And I'm so type A, man. It doesn't take that long. It doesn't take that long to do it.
What's weird though is,
What?
as I started relaxing, my tinnitus got louder. So all I'm hearing right now is
It's the angels talking to you.
It's like, come on.
But it's true. It's true. Do it. Do it for a couple days, and you will feel rejuvenated every day before you go to work. Get up, have your coffee. What I do is, I'll give you my ritual, just because this is what I do. And I started doing this. Anyway, I'll just tell you. I journal, because I have all this stuff in my head that I need to get out. And so I put it on paper. It's very therapeutic. And I write to God and Goddess every day. This is what's up. This is what I need. Please support me. Please guide me. Thank you for everything you do for me. I do all my gratefuls, thanks for my warm bed. Thanks that I have food, the simple things in life. And then I bring in the light. And then of course, I have to protect myself. So I protect myself with the Holy Spirit. And what you're bringing in is the Holy Spirit, just so everybody knows that. I may say it's the light of God, but you're bringing in the Holy Spirit. And Jesus gave us that. That was our gift, is the Holy Spirit. And see, people have forgotten that.
I can see that. Mm-hmm. I can see where people have forgotten that.
Yes.
We've totally forgot about our connection.
Yes. And now once you connect, it changes everything. You feel better. You're happier. People don't, you're more compassionate. You're not bothered by, the craziness. It's just a whole different outlook on life.
I can totally get that. I can totally see that.
Yeah.
I can totally see that.
Mm-hmm.
You say the connection is instantaneous.
It is. Many
people for years have been praying to their angels, their guides, Jesus, God himself. There's that scary motion. I don't know if I like documentaries. Okay. And one that I'm addicted to is what they call the Iceman tapes of a mobster serial killer named Richard Kuklinski. And he was a mob hitman with well over 100 kills. And there's a reason why I bring this up, because he said his biggest regret was the one he shouldn't have done was he was about to take a person's life, and this guy was praying to God.
Yeah.
And he said, I will give you 30 minutes, and if God doesn't show up, your life's over. Well, of course, 30 minutes later, God doesn't show up. He takes the man's life. And that was his biggest regret on that, is that he felt that he used that he tested God, that he knew he did wrong there. He said he wished he would have taken that one back and done it differently. And you get a lot of people, though, and I bring that up because a lot of people will take God's name in vain or Jesus's name in vain, or you get people who will pray and pray and pray, and nothing ever seems to adjust for them. How do we know that they are listening in those dire moments when you need them the most? I guess in the same breath, I say that asking as I do understand free will.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, let's talk about prayer first of all, because it's really interesting. I've had a lot of different people on my show, just like you have. But what I've learned is that and a lot of people with near death experiences. And I had a lady on my show, and she said, I was out of my body and I could see the prayers going up to heaven like sticky notes. And she said, I want everyone to know that your prayers are received. And they are. That's really important that people know this. Whatever you say, remember this, whatever you say, whatever you speak goes out into the universe. It's a vibration, it's energy. It goes out into the universe and the universe responds accordingly. So when you pray, those prayers do go up to heaven and come back. Now, what I believe as far as when people pass, they talk about the life review and they talk about feeling what the other person felt when you spoke to them, harshly, or when you did something to them, if you would have killed somebody or done something like this, you have to experience it yourself. To me, that would be hell, to have to experience what you did to somebody else and know how they felt. But I think it's a learning process to know when you do that, everything we do, because we're all connected. So everything I do goes out into the universe and it affects everybody else. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So when we pray, that's why they say if more than one person prays, if you have two people who pray together, okay, that's why it's so important, because that goes out, that's more amplified. When a whole room prays, that prayer is amplified. It's the power of the words. It's the power of the thoughts. It's the power of the emotions that goes out into the universe, and the universe responds. You can say God's responding, but it's the energy. Okay, so now we're kind of back to the energy. So you are heard, and I believe that everybody has to deal with what they've done down. That's just my opinion down here.
Do you think then that the message is getting clear, or have we moved too far away and blocked that spiritual guidance?
I think that people have not been taught how to connect to God. I think we've gone to church and we were told what they wanted to tell us because it's a control thing. So when people are waking up and they're like, oh, I can go out in nature and connect to God this way and get my messages, or I can jog, or I can be a runner and get my messages that way. It's connecting, however you connect. But when you bring in the light of the Holy Spirit and you do it intentionally, and you say, God, what message do you have for me today? That's intentional. And when you start to do this intentionally, and pray, and a lot of times people will pray, but they don't, how can I say this? They'll say, you have to pray in the present tense, or you have to ask things and know that it's going to happen. You have to believe, you have to have faith. So that's the other part that's really missing a lot of times. And I want to say that when things are really tough, that's when you have faith. That's when you have to hold on to that faith. And when you do, miracles do happen, because it's happened to me. So you can't lose the faith. You have to believe in what you can't see. It's just like you can't see the air, but you breathe it. So you have to believe in spirit. And the more you believe, the more benefits you have. And your life will go a little smoother. And yes, your prayers will be answered because you are connecting.
That makes a lot of sense. But I guess what I'm asking is
What?
prayer. I understand the power of prayer.
Okay.
Whether you're praying to your God, or you're praying to Jesus, or you're praying to your angels, or just because you miss your mom or dad. I get that.
Yeah,
Okay.
but Dave, hold on a second. I'm talking about establishing a relationship with the divine. I'm talking about really establishing a relationship with God, really having a conversation with God every day, really talking, like I talk to God just like I'm talking to you. That's what our Father wants. Spirit wants us to have a relationship and to trust. And that's what's missing. the connection and the trust and having that relationship. Like, you know, you were looking at it on your phone. Okay, well, that's the way that spirit was getting through to you. And that's awesome. And it woke you up and it made you feel better. And then you realize, wait a minute, I want more of that, right?
Well, I get that. There is and I guess that's what I'm getting at, is there is a hunger and yearning for
Yes.
us to have some sort of spiritual connection,
Yes.
whether that's with God or what, you know, or whether that's with our own spirit guides.
That's fine. Yes. Yes, absolutely. And but you have to ask. The same thing goes for the angels. So my angel's here, but I have to ask her for guidance. She's not going to just tell me. I have to ask her, and I have to ask her specifically, and I have to be very specific with my questions. Same thing with your spirit guides. You can't just off the cuff call in whatever. You know, there is a reverence to this. You have to pray for the good angels to come in, or your own spirit guides who are divine and holy. And then you have to take a moment, quiet your mind, ask for the messages, and listen. And the messages will come. It's a practice. It's like riding a bike. At first, you're not sure if it's you or if it's them, but then you realize that their messages come quick. You don't have time to think. That's how you know the difference.
Okay, so how do we translate it if we've forgotten how to communicate?
When you translate what?
The message. The
It
benefit
comes clear. It's very clear. It's very clear. All right, let's do this. You and I are going to do this. All right.
All right.
So I want you to ask spirit what you need to know today, and then listen. And it's going to be the first thing that pops into your head. And I want you to tell me what it is. So ask spirit.
What is it that you want me to know today? Knowledge.
Bingo. Get it?
I do get it, but
Yeah.
the skeptical side of me,
Well,
because
wait a minute. Wasn't that kind of cool?
well, it was kind of cool.
Okay. Excuse me.
And like I said, I get it, but the skeptical side of me says this.
What?
That's very vague. Knowledge of what?
Well, then you ask another question. And then you say, okay, spirit, what would you like me to learn? And then you listen again. So ask the question.
Spirit, what would you like me to learn from that knowledge? Business. Okay.
Okay.
We just keep rattling until we get it, is basically what
Well,
you're
you
saying.
talk to God. Now you're establishing a relationship with God, aren't you? And then it'll be like, wow, God, that's really cool. Thanks for hipping me to that, because I didn't think about that.
It seems easy.
It is easy. It's
But
way easy.
But that's the hard part.
It's way easy.
I guess where I am struggling, and maybe many others are as well, and I don't want to speak ill here, but for me, I don't know if that's true communication or if that is an actual imaginative thought.
And that's
unfortunately, I want you to hold on to that, because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour.
okay.
This is an extremely deep conversation, and we're going to have to wait for Nancy's answers when we get back from the break here at the top of the hour. Nancy Yearout is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. She has a brand new book called A Guide to Angel Communication and Spiritual Law, which we'll talk about when we return on Spaced Out Radio. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, we are clear. Nancy, we're going to just step away here for a second. I'm going to put you back in the green room. We'll be right back, okay?
Okay, cool.
Okay. All right, I'm back. Did the chair move?
I didn't move it.
Yeah, sometimes we always hope that the chair moves. Hi, Dragonfly. How you doing? Who else popped in here? Hi, Wayne. All right, we got about a minute to go here.
Okay. Did that help you?
Oh yeah, I have questions, but
Okay, cool.
that's okay.
That's my goal that, because I really feel like it just helps everybody. It just helps everybody. You're not allowed to yawn.
I'm chilled and relaxed now. You've taken
Are
my energy.
you?
I'm teasing.
Here, I'll send you some good energy.
All right.
See if you can feel it.
Waiting.
You waiting for the energy?
There it is. There it is. All right. Let's see here. Big thank you to Deb with a hat trick and T-Bone, my man, for the great super chats tonight. Very much appreciate the love and support. And don't forget to shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag, so make sure you check it on out. Here we go. Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. We're trying to communicate with angels here. Nancy Yearout is our guest. We're having a lot of fun with her tonight, so make sure you continue hanging on out with us. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Nebula Formula or Phobia. Nebula Phobia is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Here we go. Nancy Yearout, our guest tonight. She has a great book out called A Guide to Angel Communication and Spiritual Law. We're chatting about that right now. And right before the break, my friend, we got into a deep discussion about communication, questions that we may have, people moving away. What's your opinion?
Are you asking me?
Yes, because you're my guest.
As far as you were asking, when we were talking before the break, I asked you to ask Spirit a couple questions. And so the way this works is it's the first thing that pops into your head. You don't even have time to think. You ask how you know the difference between you and Spirit. It comes in your head so quick that you don't even have time to think. That is how you know it's Spirit and not you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So as you do this practice, and you're going to do the same thing with your guardian angel, you're going to acknowledge your angel. Then you're going to ask your question. Can you communicate with me? Would you like to communicate with me? Are you male? Are you female? Do you have what is your sex? Or some of them don't have any sex. You can ask what their name is. There's all different questions you can ask your angel. They all want to be acknowledged. But the way you do it is and I go through all these steps in the book, but basically you're just acknowledging that they're there. You're acknowledging that you're talking to your guardian angel who's holy and divine. You're asking a question and you're listening. And this is as far as, like, I'll say to my angel, what should I wear today? Like, what should I wear on the show today? Or, where should I go for whatever, and I get the answer, and it comes immediate. That's how you're going to know the difference. And it's actually kind of cool because then you know for sure.
How many spirit guides do you have?
I have probably 3 or 4 spirit guides, but I have 7 angels.
I have met or dealt with 4 of mine.
Okay. Angels or spirit guides?
Spirit guides.
Okay. You have a guardian angel too.
Yes.
Have you acknowledged your guardian angel?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. He's
Okay.
like right there.
He's right there. All right. All right.
His name is Jordan.
Okay.
I never see him outside of the bottom right side of his face.
Okay.
He's always like right there. He talks very surfer dude like. It's the best way that I could describe it.
I love it.
My 4, I have him. I have an ET one. All he will tell me is that his name is number 2.
Hmm.
And he only communicates with me through a pendulum.
Okay.
I have a lady named Sophelia.
Okay.
She only comes around when I need a good ass kicking. And she is always sitting in a park on a bench. She has dark hair. It's always pulled black. She wears thick horn-rimmed glasses, and she's always sitting in that bench. She looks like a librarian or an accountant, and probably drives a beige Volvo too, right? And she is kind of like my personal butt kicker. So when I'm acting up or being stupid or doing stupid things or whatever, she is there to kind of like just really, again,
Keep you in line.
Yeah. And then I have another guide. I've only dealt with him twice when I was very deep into my spirituality. He is like a wizard, like literally looks like Merlin with the long beard and the caped coat with the pointed hat with stars all over it. And his name is Cephalus.
Oh, okay.
And
That sounds angelic.
And I have only dealt with him twice.
Okay. Well, I guess I think that's really cool that you know who they all are. And I'll just say quickly, one is my father and one is my sister. But how have you worked with your angel a lot, or do you ask questions? Or
oh yeah, like
awesome.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
I don't usually bug them, so to speak.
Don't think that. They really want to help you, so don't ever feel that way.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, no.
But I just very much am very particular. Like I know when I ask, I'm going to get direct answers. So, for instance, when I used to run a ghost tour, if I was feeling uneasy about going in or before every ghost tour, I would say, "Okay, Jordan, am I good to go tonight? Am I safe tonight? Am I able to help make a good tour?" And he'd be like, "Yep, we're ready to go. Don't worry about it. You're covered."
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "Okay, well, we're gonna have a good time. Here we go."
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I didn't mention in the back of this book, there are messages for humanity from Archangel Gabriel. I do channel Archangel Gabriel. I need to mention this. So I've been channeling him for probably 3 or 4 years now. And when I put the book together, it just felt right. I had all these letters that he wrote me of, to humanity. I'd say, sometimes I'd read them on my show, sometimes I'd post them. He'd just give me these messages for humanity. So I added them to the book so that people could read the messages. And with Gabriel, it's been a different kind of a thing. With him, I don't listen. With him, I write. So he tells me Like I bring him up, like when I bring Gabriel in, I bring him in like this. I don't know if you can see that. And then I bring him in very close to me, and then I just write it down. I don't, and he, just tells me what to say or what to write. And then that's what I do. The messages for humanity. So it's been an interesting journey. You know what I mean?
Well, I can totally see where it's been an interesting journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say, like, for me, on my own spiritual contact with my guides, I totally believe that they are there in order to help us grow and deliver, knowing that that spiritual connection is always there.
Yes.
And I find it comforting. I find it very very warm that there, it's always like there's somebody there who has your back.
That's right.
Even
That's right.
if you have nobody there, once again, the poem Footprints in the Sand, you're never walking alone.
Right.
And I think that is a great message that a lot of us have forgotten. My whole point of the whole conversation tonight is many people out there, and I deal with a lot of people every single night and day, and it's amazing how many people out there have lost that connection.
Right.
Or they forgot, maybe lost is the wrong word, maybe forgotten.
They don't know how. I think they don't know how, Dave. To be straight with you, they don't teach this in church. I mean, they talk about the Holy Spirit, but has anybody ever really said to you, bring it in and ask God and listen? No. People, they don't. I had to learn this myself. You know what I'm saying? I get really frustrated because I grew up in the Church of Christ, and it just drives me nuts that, we've had all these organized religion who's absolutely has not taught us how to connect with God. It's crazy.
Yeah, but mainstream religion, though, is about dictation. You're listening to one person's perception of the Bible.
Yep.
You aren't listening to the Word of God. You're listening to somebody's perception. And that's why every church is different. Because where people feel, they may feel comfortable in one church, but they don't feel comfortable in the other. It's not because of the word of the book. It's because of the way it is preached.
Yeah. And it's because of society. I have to say this, I'm a minister, but I don't attend any particular church. I kind of just preach my own thing, and I don't really preach. I just explain and talk. I went to different churches, and they all want to know how much you're going to give and what you do for a living. And nobody ever says, what can I do to help you spiritually? That's been my experience. Truthfully, I have to say.
Yeah. I have a friend in town who has a church.
Okay.
He's the minister there, and him and I have had some very in-depth discussions because he's always like, when are you coming to church? I keep telling him, never.
Yeah, organized religion.
And one of the big things that we have discussed, and where I disagree with him, is the Bible is the most paranormal book in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. And the way it is conflicted by, and once again, this is my opinion. I may upset some people here, and I don't mean to, but the way it is conflicted, where if somebody is intuitive or psychic, that is of the devil, but the Bible has prophets.
Yeah, Jesus was psychic.
There's no difference between a psychic and a prophet.
That's right.
None whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The other part about it is I am a firm believer that I'm a creationist. I always say, I've said this many times on this show, I'm a creationist. And in my belief, if God has created everything, that includes aliens. That includes what we would consider aliens, life on a different planet or elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that so many religions out there hide behind the fact that if anything comes from the sky, it's demonic, it's evil, it's of the devil. I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second, because if another civilization is out there, which I believe there are many, probably millions out there, and they have the technology to get here, that doesn't mean that they're evil. It doesn't mean that
But
they're bad.
I know, but let me just, if you don't mind, let me interject here, because it's really important that you know there is a war going on right now between good and evil behind the veil here. But know that there are good. This is why I say it's so important that you say a prayer and that you be specific about calling in your own guardian angel. There are dark and light. So you don't want to call in anything dark. So you definitely want to be specific when you're calling in anything. So there is good and bad. I mean, there's nothing you can do. There are fallen angels. You got to be careful. This is a reverent thing to do. It really is. And it's a personal thing. It's a personal thing. Like you were talking about, we all need to read the Bible and connect to God and form our own opinion. Read the Bible. I have a Bible. I'll tell you this. This is something that's really will kind of blow your mind. So my father left me the family Bible, and I'm Scottish. McConaughey was my maiden name. And the Bible is from the 1700s and from Scotland. And I have the Bible here, and it reads completely different than the Bible that we have today. Let's say the King James Version, for example. And I'm always referencing, and I go back, and it has books in there that aren't in the regular Bible. So things have been changed and things have been altered so much over time that it's really difficult to know what's right and what's wrong. I put in my book, I talk about Corinthians, where it talks about love is patient, love is kind. You know that verse that I'm speaking of? Where it says love is patient, love is kind. You know what I'm talking about? Well, in my family Bible, it doesn't say that. It says charity. It doesn't use the word love. It uses the word charity. It's completely different. Now, maybe in those times they meant charity was love, but it's completely written differently. So there's a lot of, so we have to read it and connect with God and have our own interpretation. I think everybody has to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing though. Yeah. Yeah.
I fully agree.
Yeah.
I fully agree it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But is it one path for all of us, or
No.
are we all on individual paths?
We're all connected. We're all connected, and we all wake up at a different time. So you wake up, you're awake, you know these things. I'm awake, I know these things, but maybe people in your family aren't. But maybe in a couple years they will. Maybe your friend who walked away from you will come back in a couple years and say, wow, I get it. I'm awake. I see it. I see the truth. I was blinded, but now I see it. And this is what's going on right now. And this is what's happening look at the United States right now and Trump and this whole situation. People started to see through the media. Why do you think everybody voted for Trump? They saw through the lies. They saw through the deception. So it's the same kind of a thing. People are waking up and they're seeing the truth and they're starting to connect, and it's raising the vibration for the planet. And I will tell you, because of Trump's election, the energy in the United States has really risen. I mean, it's awesome.
Well, let's hope it continues. We're going to get to some audience questions here because they're really piling up for you.
Okay.
And we're going to get to Sierra here.
Okay.
Do you know who my guardian angel is and how I could talk to the angel? Are there other angels around?
Okay. So, Sierra, let me ask my angel who your guardian angel is. Okay. You have a female that's next to you, and you just need to acknowledge her. And do you have more? I pick up three angels. but your guardian angel is nudging you to speak. You may have found a feather or something. I see like she's been nudging you, like you get a sign, like she's been trying to get your attention. So yeah, she wants you to acknowledge her. So, and just do that and listen, like I talked about. Okay.
There we go. Let's go to Hillbilly Herb. Wondering if I have any guides working with me right now. I once received a message saying I was my own guide. Were they just being cheeky and getting me to dig deeper?
Probably. Hold on a minute. Hillbilly Herb. Okay, hold on. My angel is Haley. So if you ask, I'm going to ask Haley. Wow. She says he has several angels around him. You're not taking it seriously. They want you to take this seriously. It's okay to joke around, but you have to take it seriously. Be a little more reverent, and that'll connect you. They want you to, you have to respect your the angels and what they stand for. So
let's go to T-Bone. Nancy, have you ever been photographed using a Kirlian camera?
I don't know what that is. What is that?
I'm Googling right now.
I don't know what that is.
Let's see here. The Kirlian camera is like it's almost like a FLIR kind of thing.
What's it? What, like an energy field or something?
Capture auras.
Oh, well, you probably see a lot. No, I have. Well, I take that back. I had years and years ago when I was in my 20s, I was at a fair in Michigan and somebody drew my aura and it was all yellow. But no, I have not. I have not.
Mine's light purple, and blue.
I don't know what it is. It's been a long time. I don't know.
Which now there's probably, shades of probably some puce in there or something. And I only say that because, anytime you get to say the word puce, that's funny.
Okay.
It just is. All right, let's continue on here as the questions build up here. And we'll run we're going to have enough to run to the top of the hour. Let's go to Polly. I am a super empath and set my boundaries from narcissism. What should be my first step in order to connect with my angels?
Well, and it's going to be acknowledging again, like I said, and I'm an empath too. I've got a class coming up. You'll have to check it out. But anyway, definitely just acknowledge your angel is there and ask, are they male or female, and ask what their name is and just start communicating. Very simple things. You can ask, like I was talking about, what should I wear today, or where should I go here, or should I go there? Just start with simple questions. So hopefully that helps, Polly.
All right, let's continue on here. Let's go to the Andromedan, who is asking, what do you think of the Akashic records?
Yeah, well, they're there. It's a library. And it's everything. It's all the different lifetimes, that we've lived. And it's all the information about everybody is in there. So what do I think about it? I think there's a lot of people who say they can access their Akashic records. I think everybody can access their own Akashic records if you really choose to.
Okay, quick one here. Let's go to J Truth Seeker. Have you ever seen an angel punch an alien or a lizard Draco in the face?
I'll tell you what, Archangel Michael is the warrior. And I do have a connection with Archangel Michael, and I will pull out my blue flame sword of truth every once in a while. So yeah, there's a lot of us that are here on the planet, and I'll just say there are warrior angels.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Nancy, can we get you to hold on right there? We have her for another half an hour here on Spaced Out Radio, where we're going to take more audience questions, probably till the top of the hour, because there's a lot of them and we want to get the audience involved. If you ever want to ask a question on our show, you got to come to the live YouTube chat. Spaced Out Radio continues after this.
listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right. What were you showing there?
I've been sitting here messing with my pendulum. And you said you use yours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I use mine all the time for yes or no questions. It's cool.
Mine are upstairs.
I heard you say that, and I've been sitting here all night just kind of messing with mine.
I know where my pendulums are.
Yeah.
I literally lose my pendulums about twice a year.
Oh, no way. And you have to get new ones?
No.
find
I
them?
find the bag that they're in. It'll either be in a coat pocket, in a cupboard, or a drawer or someplace.
Okay. That's cool.
You know what's funny is when I first got into my spirituality big time, this was before the radio show started in 2014. I had an ET in my house.
Oh, wow.
And I could feel it. And it was pretty intense. Like I knew they were coming to get me. And I remember I was awake, my partner was sleeping, and I watched this giant blue sword just go wham right in front of my doorway.
Mm-hmm.
And within minutes that was gone. And it's funny because a few weeks previous to that, I had an experience where I knew there was an ET in my house, and it was down the hall in my kitchen, and my dog slept in the laundry room. That was his spot.
Okay.
And I knew it was there. I was telepathically communicating with it. I knew it was a gray. I knew exactly where it was in my house.
That's crazy.
And I was frozen at my door. And the interesting part about that was I had I was standing at the door looking down the hallway, and all of a sudden my dog got up and he was looking down the hallway too. And he wasn't moving, not barking, not growling. He had his head turned to the left, looking down the hallway, and would not look at me. He was just all eyes on the hallway. And I could literally telepathically hear this being saying, "He's awake, get me out of here. He's awake. It's time to go." And I don't know why I heard that in English. Maybe it was translated into English for me to understand. I don't know. But it's just one of those experiences I just don't know how to explain.
Why do you think they were there? I mean, I can ask my angel, but I'm just curious what you think.
I don't have an answer to that.
Oh, she said they were curious.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. That's what she said.
I had, before all of that happened, I had a run-in with an alien in the forest. And 5 days prior to that, I had a UFO called me outside and turned its lights on my command.
So it was a curious thing. You know, I've always felt, and I know you know this because you're pretty knowledgeable, but they say, if you say, you know, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus Christ, that they'll be out of there. You do know that.
I don't chase my guys away. I
Well,
really
you don't. So you're not afraid. So you weren't afraid.
Oh, I'm petrified. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, I'm like,
Don't get me wrong. I'm petrified.
well,
But
then why wouldn't you say, well, Archangel Michael came in, you know, that was his sword.
because I want to fly the craft.
Because what?
I want to fly the craft.
Okay. You want to fly the craft in this lifetime and your next lifetime?
Now, like I want my goal right now, and I'm being selfish here, them little pricks. Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
All
I
right.
want my goal that I put out to the universe
Really?
is I want to walk into my back after this show one night, or even during the show during a commercial break. I want to walk outside, see the craft in my backyard, and I want to walk up to it. I want to hopefully I'd have the strength to get on, and I want to fly that thing. I want to fly. The first place I'm going is Taco Bell, and then from there, okay, I want to go see the universe, and that will be the road I want to take. That's the way. That's the
That's
way I want it to go.
that's the way you want it to go. Okay. Well,
And hold on, we're coming back here in like 5 seconds. Here comes the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate you tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet of Earth. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/spaced out radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go. We got Nancy Yearout here. She got a great book. I'm going to tell you the name so you can find it online. A Guide to Angel Communication and Spiritual Law. Connecting to your Zen and your Chi, man. That's what we are going to be doing. Nancy, welcome back.
thank you, Dave.
All right, let's get right back to audience questions here. Let's go to Derek here, who is asking, have you ever spoken with the Blessed Virgin Mary, and can you share?
You know, I have, but not like I've spoken more to Jesus, to be honest with you. So when I was going through my divorce, I'll talk about Jesus because I didn't really speak to Mary. I was outside and I was beside myself, and all of a sudden Jesus was right there. I felt him, his presence. You know, when you go through a traumatic thing, Jesus will come in and comfort you. And I felt the comfort of Jesus. So that's what I've experienced. And I've felt his comfort a couple times in my lifetime. So I think it's whoever you resonate with, whoever you call in. I do talk to Mary, but I'm more connected to Jesus. So.
All right, let's continue on here. Let us now go next to Polly. Are your angels given by birth? Who decides what angel you'll get?
Oh, I don't know. We can ask. Let me ask my angel. How are people's angels assigned? Very specifically, by need. Whatever your life mission you choose is how your angel is chosen. The angel is chosen to complement and to help you in your lifetime to achieve what you came to Earth to learn. That's from my angel, not me.
All right, let's move on. Let's go to T-Bone. I have to ask, Nancy, what do you think about aliens?
I think that personally, I think there are good aliens, and I think there are, just like there's good people and bad people, I think there's good and bad within everything. I think that we are ready to connect with them, and our governments around the world have not given us that choice. And I think it's time that they do. But I think we haven't connected with them yet because humanity hasn't raised their vibration high enough that we would be able to be compassionate and kind and decent. You know what I mean? We have to be at a point where we are not harsh or not derogatory or anything like that. So I think our vibration has to go up a little higher before we're going to connect with them. What do you think about that, Dave?
I think they're there to help us get to our higher self because life is hard.
It is
We've
hard.
extremely difficult, and we
Mhm.
keep making it more difficult,
Mhm.
including with social media. I
Mhm.
think so, as much as I think social media plays a major role in our lives now, and it's never going away. I think it's been an absolute,
Distraction?
not distraction. It's like a necessary evil now. I think it's taken away personality. I mean,
Mhm.
everything you can do online. If
Mhm.
if you want to go to a date, you don't go meet somebody anymore. You meet them online.
I
You
know.
know, if you want to go shopping for a birthday present, you buy it online. You
Mhm.
can get groceries and meals delivered to your door. I mean, it's getting more and more like 1984 every day.
Mhm.
And we've taken the humanity out of human because of social media.
Mhm.
You know,
That's
whether
true.
it's and even like coming from a journalistic background where we used to cover stories. We don't cover stories anymore. We cover headlines.
I
It's
know.
it's become infotainment because we're more worried about the feelings of people than actually telling the truth.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well,
And the unfortunate part is feelings bring ratings.
that is starting to change in the US with this election of Trump because people saw how and I won't get into a whole thing about it, but how untruthful the media has been, especially when you saw the results. So people are hip, man. People are paying attention and they're watching shows like yours, they're watching shows like mine. They're watching more you know, that are not main. I don't think people watch the regular news anymore because it's just all programming us, what it's what they want to us to know, not what's really going on, if that makes sense.
Well, as somebody who is a former member of the mainstream media, it's extremely disappointing to see where a once proud
Yeah.
career
Yep.
and a once proud trait has literally sacrificed itself for the
Mhm.
sake of a big business and big money.
Right. That's right.
And I don't
That's
like
right.
that.
That's true.
Let's move on to another question here. Let's go to Ginger Turtle. I recently met my first spirit guide. It was an amazing experience. Any idea how many I may have?
Haley, how many does Ginger have? She's a guardian angel, 2 spirit guides, and another. Looks like you have an angel that comes in and out. I just want you to know that sometimes, like, your guardian angel is always with you, but you may have different angels that come in and out, just like you may have different spirit guides that come in and out at different parts of your life when you need them. So, but that's what you have right now. But that may change. The one kind of goes in and out, she says. So,
I can see that.
mhm.
I can see that. Let's move on here. Let's go to Polly. What is the difference between spirit guides
Oh,
and guardian angels?
great question. Thanks for asking that, Polly. Spirit guides help us. A lot of times there are people who have lived, like my dad is one of my spirit guides. My oldest sister, she died of leukemia many years ago. She's one of my spirit guides. And I love them dearly and they love me and I know when they're around. But my guardian angel is a whole different ball game. She's on a different frequency and she's on a higher frequency because of her angelic, being. And so she's closer to getting the answers at a different frequency. So, not that your guides don't answer your questions, but she's just very accurate, always compassionate. And I just feel like it's I don't know how to say this. It's just a higher connection. It's just a clearer connection. It's a more godly connection, I guess, more than anything. I will call on my angel before I call on anybody. Yeah.
I
Mhm.
get that. I
Mhm.
get that. Let's go over to S for Matt. Nancy, how do you know it's just cool imagination self answers?
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. So when you're connecting with your guardian angel or you're connecting with spirit, what you want to do is ask a question. Make sure you say, I'm asking spirit who's divine and holy, or I'm asking my angel who's divine and holy, what is your name? And then listen. And it's the first thing that pops into your head. And after you do it for a while, you'll realize the difference between your own thoughts and the angelic. And they also don't speak the same as we do. So you'll know it's not something that you would say.
All right, let's go to Captain K Rod. Nancy, I've had 2 separate psychics tell me I have extraterrestrial guides. She got aliens, in other words.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, it's always
Captain
good to
Crunch.
have aliens.
Yeah. All right. What do you think, Haley? Are these ETs? She says one is, not both. One's like a grandfather figure, and the other is more of an extraterrestrial, but one's a grandfather figure, is what I pick up. Hope that helps.
I would agree. I would agree. All right, let's continue on here. Let's go over to Eriko, who is asking, could synchronicity be the angel's way of nudging us?
Absolutely. Yeah. We see angel numbers. Why is everybody seeing 11 and 11 and 22 22 and 33 33 and 44 44? We're all waking up. These signs have been here. We're just starting to see them. So when you start to see angel signs, yes, they are nudging us. Sometimes it'll be a feather. Sometimes it could be a bird. It could be, hummingbirds. But the numbers are really significant because they're really nudging us. And when you start to see them, you know that you have gotten to a certain vibration and you're starting to see them. And you're like, why didn't I see them before? Because you weren't there yet. And I started, and it's been like, I don't know what's happened to you, Dave, but it's been a progression for me. I started out with 11 11s and I went to 22 22, 33 33. I'm actually on the 5s now. But I still see 11 11, but it's confirmation that we're on the right path. It's confirmation that our angels are with us. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's continue on. Let's go to Ozzy Ange. Nancy, is one of my angels named Theora, or is she a guide?
Angie, okay. Haley, what's the situation here? The aura is a guide. That's what she says. Yes, she's a guide, not an angel. 2 different things. Ask your angel what her name is, and she'll tell you. I pick up it's a male, actually. Just so ask your angel what his name is, Angie.
Mm-hmm. Let's go over to Paramarv. If everyone has a couple of guardian angels, yet people, especially kids, are abducted and have unpleasant experiences, are we to infer that those were allowed by God?
Well, we have free will, and things happen. How can I say this? There's a lot of things that happen that we don't know why they happen, but there's always a reason why these things happen, and we may not understand it, but we all have a guardian angel, and our guardian angels do their very best to watch over us and protect us. And but I don't have all the answers of why everything happens the way it does. But I know that there's a plan, and it's interesting because I can look back at my life and think, well, why did that happen? And now I can see clearly exactly why it happened. So you never know. I mean, somebody could have come in with a certain experience that they wanted to have. You just don't know, and so we can't judge. Hopefully that will help you.
Moving on, let's go to Moody Mongol. Good morning to you. What about whistling spirits? does your angel know who was whistling in the studio? And what this was my studio is haunted.
Oh.
And a couple of weeks ago, and people want to hear this, they could go on our YouTube channel and
Okay.
actually listen to a clip where something whistled right in between where Tim is sitting and where I'm sitting.
Okay,
which-
so my printer just went off.
Well, for our radio audience, I also have a Bigfoot light right there. You won't see it. You have to go on our YouTube channel to see it. Probably 4 times a week when I come into studio, it's been turned on.
That's so weird that my printing went off. Okay, hold on. Let me ask. Haley, what's going on over there in the studio? Oh, you have 2. It's not just 1. You have 2.
Mm-hmm.
And one is like a jokester, like a prankster, and just having the time of his life. And the other is just an angry. We have an angry and we have a fun. That's what I get. Angry and fun.
The angry one.
Doesn't want to move on because he's afraid. It's a male and he's afraid and he doesn't want to be here and he's stuck and he needs to go to the light is what he needs to do, but he's afraid and somebody needs to help him and I'll help him if he wants help, but I do send people to the light, by the way. I help people go. So yeah, that's what's going on there. Mm-hmm. Do you want me to help him go? God bless.
He wants.
Does he want to go? The one doesn't want to go. One's having he likes it there. He feels right at home.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But the other one, all you have to do is just look over your left shoulder and you see the light and just start going towards the light and don't be afraid. You're not going to be judged and nobody's going to hurt you. It's just all love. So go that way.
Now, the interesting part about the fun one, I think I know who that is.
Is it a friend of yours that's passed?
It's a former listener who passed.
Oh.
And so for radio audience, you won't be able to see this, but right behind my head, I have a guitar. Now, that guitar used to hang to my right. And now it's behind me. And inside the strings of that guitar is a sticky note with one of our listeners who, over in the Netherlands, he had some extremely horrific health problems. So he chose doctor-assisted passing.
Oh.
So 8 hours before he passed, I believe it was on February 25th, 2022, he came into the studio online in our chat room to say goodbye.
Oh my gosh.
And he hung out with us for an hour. And he made a promise to me that when he got comfortable on the other side, he would move. I told him I was going to put a sticky note with his name. And I had it tight in between the strings. And then about 4 months later, 3-4 months later, I wish I could find the clip, but the sticky note actually moved. And it went from being just like a straight sticky note to all of a sudden it moved on an angle.
Okay. So he's getting there.
So since I've moved the guitar, my Bigfoot light where my guitar used to sit or hang, now 3, 4, 5 times a week when I come into the studio, that light is already on. And in fact, one night prior to the show, Tim and I stepped outside to get some fresh air before the show, and we came, and the light was off when we left the studio. We were only gone about 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and when we came back, the light was on.
Yeah. So what's your question?
Is it who I think it is?
Haley isn't who he thinks it is. I gotta know.
Wow.
I gotta know. That's weird. I was shocked, actually. Who is this?
Is it a former guest?
I'm picking up. Haley, who is this? Okay. She's telling me it's a relative. I get it's a relative of Dave's. Yes, this is a relative of yours. Somebody who is delighted to see what you're doing, is impressed by your work. Huh. And just likes the energy in there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. That's
Let's
weird.
get to another question. We got a bunch of them with 4
Okay.
minutes to go here.
All right.
Let's go to the Uncommon. Wonder my angels are. Maybe I don't have any angels.
Everybody has a guardian angel. Yes, you do. Everybody has a guardian angel. Everybody. Yes, you do.
Let's go to Paul in Australia. I've always felt I was connected in some way to Yearout. Is that possible?
Absolutely, that's possible. And when I was I spoke at the Conscious Life Expo in LA last year, and I met some people, and I taught them. Well, actually, I spoke at the conference, and I taught everybody in the audience how to connect. And the next morning at breakfast, two of the people that were in my workshop told me at breakfast they connected to Yearout. So, and they were like talking with them, and it was great. They were asking which class they should go to next, or which, speaker to hear. So yes, absolutely. You can connect with Yearout. Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. Let us move on to another question here. Let's go to Paisley. Nancy, why would a fallen angel adhere to a person?
Well, I don't think they would, but if they did, it would be for an energetic thing, but they really wouldn't. I don't think they would. I feel like a soul who didn't want to go to heaven would adhere to a person. But the only reason a fallen angel would do that would be to take over somebody else's body and to manipulate that body. So that would be the only reason.
2 minutes to go. Let's go to Deb. Nancy, what is your belief in soul contracts, and is there a lifetime guide assigned to us?
Difference between guides and guardians. Okay, so soul contracts. Yes, I believe that we have different contracts before we come in, or maybe we made a contract. But you can always just nullify your contract by speaking it. If you feel like you have a contract with somebody and you don't want to have that contract anymore, you can, get rid of it and just say, I completely, I don't want to be in this contract. I can nullify it. And difference between guides and guardians. The guardian angel are their angels, angelic souls, and guides are usually people who have lived before and are here to assist us. It could be an alien.
You gotta love them aliens.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. All right.
I'm trying to go quick to make sure I answer everybody.
Let's go to who do we go to here? Let's go to Paramarv. During the break, you mentioned something about multiple lifetimes. Have the angels provided information confirming reincarnation?
Well, I think most people, let me just, Haley, you want to talk about reincarnation? We all reincarnate. I reincarnated, she says, 42 times. So we all reincarnate. So yes, you can just ask your angel, how many times you've reincarnated. Does that help? Does that answer the question? I hope.
I don't know.
I hope so. I hope so.
Who are my other angels, and what do they help me with?
Sierra, you have 3. You have an issue about standing up for yourself, confidence. And so they are working on your confidence and you standing up for yourself. I see them wanting you to stand tall and be proud of who you are. You may be a tall person and you don't stand up like you should. And they really want you to stand tall and be proud of who you are. That's what I get for you.
A great way to end this. Nancy's latest book is A Guide to Angel Communication and Spiritual Law. You can find her at nancyyearout.com. Nice tribute to angel communication. Nancy Yearout, thank you. Coming up next, Spaced Out Radio, Swamp Dweller. Then the UFO report with little Timmy James. He's ready for it. I'm ready for it. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we are clear.
Dave, thank you.
That was fun. I told you fast.
It was fun. Thank you so much.
you.
I really appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay.
Much love.
You too. Take care. God bless.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Nancy, Yearout. I love her. I want to bring her back. She's fun. She's fun, and she got nice hair. We'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm back. It's cold out. Probably almost hoodie weather. Oh, it's -8 Celsius. No kidding. Look at that. That would be why. That would be why. chair didn't move. That's too bad. That's too bad. Sorry I didn't get to all the questions, everybody. I was trying to race through them as quickly as I could. It was fun, though. Where did that go? All right, little Timmy James walking back into studio. You're a slam the door kind of guy. Nobody knows you use a bucket, man. We just need a bigger microphone stand. That's what we need. Damn it, I'll get you one. How about that? All right, let's do a quick audio test, video test.
Bucket.
Oh, hold on here. Hey, Tim.
Hey, Dave.
How you doing?
Hey, good, man. Good.
We got 30 seconds. Thank you to T-Bone times 2, Deborah Rooney times 3, Simon and
Noisy Tim.
Mel, WD-40. Beth, if I missed your question, I apologize. All right. Here comes the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Nebulaphobia. Nebulaphobia is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. To start this story off and to give a little insight about me, I'm an 18-year-old female who grew up in Michigan and have lived in the country for as long as I can remember. And for heads up, this is a long story, so bear with me. On one particular hot summer weekend, I and a couple of my friends, including my boyfriend, let us call him Tony, and my older brother, let us call him Brad, decided we were going to go camping for the weekend, since it was such a warm week. Tony's parents had owned a cabin way out in Ludington, surrounded by a huge wooded area, with a personal lake and no neighbors for at least 4 miles. But being stupid teenagers, we did not really think about that. All we were ready for was to party, as any normal teen would. Well, after being there for 2 hours, our fun had started. Tony's friends had brought tons of alcohol and weed to last us for the weekend, so we would not be bored since we had no cell service out there and only movies to watch. After it got around 12 a.m. and it was pitch black outside, we had a huge bonfire going. It was a total of 6 people, including me and Tony. As we talked and laughed about upcoming events in our lives, we were so distracted that we did not even notice that my brother had literally frozen his eyes onto one section of the woods. Mind you, we were all a little bit intoxicated and kind of high at the time. Eventually, our talking ceased when Tony realized his friend and my brother had an emotionless expression. "Hey dude, you alright?" he asked Brad. Silence was all he got in reply. Brad did not reply or even make any movements that would indicate he had been heard. After that, I started to get scared as well as the other two girls there. It took a lot for my brother to act that way. Eventually, I was the first to catch on that he was excessively staring into a certain spot in the woods. I turned my head and followed his gaze the best I could, and when I finally caught on to what he was staring at, my heart dropped. There was, at first glance, a dog. At least that's what I thought it was. It was some person's dog that had wandered off, right? But then my brain kicked in and I realized there were no neighbors for miles. So how could there be a dog? My mind started to race while Tony still tried to get Brad to speak or even move. In one motion, this thing stood up tall. And when I say tall, I mean gigantic. This thing had to be at least 6 foot tall. Everyone saw it then. How could you not? The other two girls, and the other boy with us, gasped as they finally grasped why my brother was still as a stick. No one moved for what seemed like hours. Tony was the first to talk. No tail, he mumbled. No one heard what he said but Brad, and I swear to you, when I say his eyes were wide and as big as pan saucers, I mean it. That freaked me out immediately. What did you say? One of the girls asked. It has no freaking tail, he hissed at her. My heartbeat stopped. He was right. There was no tail on this thing. Suddenly, my clouded alcohol mind cleared up in a fraction of a second when I finally realized what this thing could possibly be. Now I understood why my brother was basically crapping his pants. This thing was a skinwalker. My instincts kicked in right then and there, but before I could nope out of there, the thing let out a terrible stench, like rotten meat, right before screaming something that sounds like straight out of a demon movie. The sound was enough to scare everyone. I told everyone to just run as fast as they can. My brother was the first out of his chair. He started shouting native words to the creature. No one questioned anything that we were saying. They just saw how deadly serious we were. He has never seen me so scared. Tony was absolutely baffled, so he knew it was a bad situation. We all hightailed it to the cabin with my brother in tow, still shouting native words at the creature. It seemed to keep it at bay, while it gave us enough time to get inside. He slammed and locked the door before turning off all the lights and grabbing special ash from the kitchen counters and starting to throw at every window and door while chanting. Of course, he had everyone freaked out and basically in tears at the moment. All of us were still in shock for a while, and after he was done, no one said anything for a long time. He grabbed our dad's pistol and had it posted by him for hours. Everyone was entirely too shaken up to even question what happened. We must have fallen asleep eventually because I woke up to my brother packing all of our stuff into the cars early in the morning. I understand why. We have a native family. We knew that we were dealing with something way too strong for us, and we knew it would come back, and maybe not even alone. Before we left, I did one blessing on the cabin and spoke a few calming words to the still very freaked out girls. We left as soon as everything was packed up. To this day, we still have not explained exactly to our friends what happened that night, and they never bothered to ask us either.
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another amazing story. If you want more just like that, head on over to his YouTube channel, Swamp Dweller. He's got thousands of stories for free. From there, we're heading to the UFO report. Here comes little Timmy James.
That is an interplanetary flying space saucer. You have made me very angry. Very angry indeed.
James, good to have you back on the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, and you saw.
I am doing fantastic.
Nice.
Fantastic.
You know, that Swamp Dweller, that for an 18-year-old girl, that was a weird voice.
Yeah, it's weird how he can change his voice.
I know, it's strange.
You know, it's amazing. He's such a great storyteller.
He is. He is.
It's been busy.
It's
More, and more busyness today.
more busyness. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. You had something that I hadn't even touched on, so I'm sure you're going to touch on that today.
Well, let's get your stuff first.
Okay. Just a reminder, everybody, for tomorrow, 3:15 Eastern time, the closed hearings to examine the activities of Arrow start. If you go to Congress, I think, congress.gov, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern time, they'll have videos up on there so you can watch the open hearing after the closed door session. So just a little reminder. And anybody that wants to get into that would be your choice, I suppose. So, found out today that remote viewing. So, a document was obtained by the Black Vault, a media source, through the Freedom of Information Act and was part of the Stargate collection release. This document, titled Mars Exploration, dated May 22nd, 1984, details a unique and unconventional exploration of Mars. It involves a remote viewer provided with coordinates to focus on Mars during a period approximately 1 million years BC. The viewer described observing geographical features like pyramids, severe dust storms, suggesting major geological disturbances. The document also mentions tall, thin figures perceived as ancient Martians facing environmental collapse and searching for new habitats. Additionally, the viewer describes large structures resembling shelters and channels and recounts a journey by the Martians to a volatile, vegetation-rich environment. This exploration is part of a broader attempt to understand Mars through psychic means, providing a fascinating glimpse into the CIA's exploration of extrasensory perception and remote viewing techniques. Pretty interesting. And if you go on to X or whatever social media site you want to go to, you can check that out. There is actually the release transcripts and there's no redactions. So you've got the monitor and the subject. The monitor's asking questions, the subject's answering the questions. It's actually pretty neat. I was trying to catch up on it a little bit during the show. And yeah, it's if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Interesting. And yeah, David mentioned it to me earlier today. So checked it out. And yeah, kind of a different situation with that. So yeah, that was kind of cool.
Here's one of the things I find very cool about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is just a few weeks ago we had Dr. John Brandenburg on the show,
right?
And he was talking about, as a theoretical physicist,
mm-hmm.
how he believed that Mars was wiped out 1 million years ago by some sort of nuclear holocaust,
right?
Probably coming from the sky and shooting on down to the planet, almost like a laser beam
mm-hmm.
or a tractor beam, if you want to use this Star Wars term.
Right.
Okay, like literally blowing up the Death Star here. And I think after reading this that I never really bought into that. I just wasn't sure, but just never felt right to me.
Yeah.
But after hearing this kind of confirm, if you believe in remote viewing,
mm-hmm.
there's a lot of ties to both.
Yeah.
There really is. So I find that very interesting.
For sure. And I agree with you. I think that after that conversation and when he was on the show, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, okay, that's different. And I even think our Keith even brought up the subject as well. And the color of the planet, the red, was caused by iron, I think was what he had said. So yeah, it just seems to be not a domino effect, but it just seems to be popping up more. And yeah, like you say, I found this pretty interesting. And I was like, okay, maybe there's something to this, but we'll wait and see what goes on further. But yeah, just an interesting topic. And yeah, I found it, you never know.
Nope, you never know.
So the big thing today, and you have to bear with me on this because there's a segue to it. Okay. So this is going to come as a big surprise to everybody I know. The Pentagon failed its 7th audit in a row.
Oh, no.
But says progress is being made. So the Pentagon on Friday failed its 7th audit in a row, with the nation's largest government agency still unable to fully account for its more than $824 billion budget. Though officials stress they're making good progress towards a clean audit in 2028. The Department of Defense technically earned a disclaimer of opinion, meaning it failed to provide sufficient information to auditors to form an accurate opinion. The goal is to earn an unmodified audit opinion or a clean audit that says the financial statements are accurate. A qualified opinion says that there are no omissions and concerns, but the finances are generally reliable. Michael McCord, Undersecretary of Defense, Comptroller, and Chief Financial Officer, said that despite the disclaimer of opinion, which he expected, the Defense Department has turned a corner in the understanding of the depth and breadth of its challenge. So after 7 audits, somebody's finally going, okay, yeah, I think we might get a handle on this. Momentum is now on our side, and throughout the department, there is a strong commitment and belief in our ability to achieve an unmodified audit opinion, he said in his statement. So leading into this, obviously we heard about it earlier last week, and money and where's the budget and all that sort of stuff. But Tim Burchett had a video out, had an interview out, and I actually hand wrote, and this is a quote from Burchett. It said, "I don't trust the U.S. government, and I am a United States congressman. I've talked to experts. I've seen testimony from astronauts, talked to fighter pilots that are the best in the world, and they tell me they've chased these craft, and yet the Pentagon says they don't exist. Now we're talking about throwing money at it, and all of a sudden they say they want to study it. They lose billions of dollars every year. They've never passed an audit, and like I say, the Pentagon is a bunch of war pimps." I'm quoting him. "The American public deserves transparency. We deserve to know what's going on." I had a conversation with someone that called me over the weekend. That was very high up in the Trump administration. They told me that I kicked a hornet's nest, and their words were, "I need to get bodies around me." I take that very serious. You have a Pentagon that has billions of dollars that they hide. We don't ask for any accounting of. They never pass an audit in the history of audits. I've often said the only way we're going to get to the bottom of this is if somebody's going to walk out of one of these labs with this information and put it out on the internet before they unalive themselves by stinging themselves in the back of the head 5 times. So those verbs were changed so that we're not going to get cut off by YouTube. But I was like, holy smoke. So Pentagon fails, and then Tim Burchett goes out and, basically said what he said. I was like, wow. So here you have a U.S. congressman saying, I don't trust him. And in different interviews and different stuff I saw today, he is outright saying that the Pentagon is hiding money for UFO studies and all that sort of stuff. So I was like, okay, so there's a little bit of pot stirring going on in Congress, that's for sure, and with the Pentagon.
You know what? That's a huge and scary statement.
Right?
And we need to spend a little bit of time to talk about this, because literally this also comes off the warning, and many people missed it,
right? Where
Anna Paulina Luna, representative congresswoman, had also stated to Nancy Mace prior to the hearings last week that do not mention what do they call it? Immaculate domain or immaculate constellation.
Yes.
That all of a sudden she was going to be getting, there's a likelihood she was going to get some serious knocks at the door. Okay. And that's where Nancy Mace basically said, come at me, bro.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, this is right out of, scenes like The Bourne Identity.
Yeah.
Now, there is either a major game being played here for people to be talking tough, okay, claiming that the U.S. military has all of these Manchurian candidates that it sends out to unalive people.
Right.
Okay, and I hate that term, unalive.
I know.
Can we just talk English again? Right.
Yes.
Okay. But getting to the point, it's scary that they are worried about that.
Mhm.
And if that is true, what does this say about the greatest republic of all time?
Oh,
That and more so the military industrial complex.
mhm.
If you have politicians turning on them, and don't forget, let's not also forget that there are a bunch of old school politicians in there who have vetoed this subject of UFOs quite a bit.
Yeah.
Mike Rogers is one of them.
Mhm.
Okay. Michael Turner from Ohio. We've talked about him
Yes.
numerous times on this show. These are people who have been elected year after year after year,
Mhm.
okay, to do the job, and yet they lobby for all of these special interest defense corporations.
Right.
And I don't know much about defense corporations, but what I do know, they have a lot of pull. They have a lot of pull. And you know what, Tim Burchett, if this is true, maybe he should get security.
Yeah.
Okay, because if there are these Manchurian candidates, these Jason Bourne type people out there that are
Mhm.
ready to do that job, then that tells you, if this is all true.
Yeah.
Okay, if this is all true, that tells you that this is one of the scariest times, and that they will do anything to keep the UFO subject quiet.
No question. No question. I mean, I've obviously been, following along with a lot of this stuff, and I find that Tim Burchett, some people have said, oh yeah, he's just a loose cannon, and I don't think so. I think he's just fed up. He's telling it as it is. And I mean, I don't, I haven't researched his background for his family or anything, but if what he's saying is true, man, he's sure putting himself at a lot of risk. He really is.
Well, he does that with every topic.
True.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy is known for not having a zipper on his mouth.
No, there's no filter.
Okay. And that's why he keeps getting elected,
Mhm.
even though he's still relatively new. But, he's also concerned. There's this group of people who are kind of new to Congress
Right.
and the Senate, that they look at these people who have been elected for 25, 30 years.
Mhm.
And that's why they're pushing for term limits down there.
Right.
Now, being Canadian in a parliamentary system, I don't know if I like term limits. Okay. Only for the fact that if somebody is doing a good job, they should have the most amount of time to do so until the elected public tells them not to do it anymore.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
Okay. Like a certain dear leader who needs to go away. We're not allowed to mention his name.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Right.
See ya.
Right.
See
But
ya.
But I can understand where in a country like the US,
Mhm.
where you have somebody who you're starting to question after 30 years, are they really there for the public, or are they there for the military industrial complex,
Sure.
which has been questioned about Mike Turner and others?
Mhm.
That's where you look at term limits and you think, okay, maybe 20 years is enough, or 16 years. 16 years is 4 elections.
Yeah.
Maybe that's enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Good point. And you're right. Like, if somebody is doing a good job and you're there for the people and you're doing what you were elected to do for the people, I don't think necessarily a time limit is the right thing. I think it's after, like you say, a little bit farther down the road, and it's like, okay, time for some fresh blood. And then the constituents vote in somebody new. So yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. But yeah, why would you take somebody away that's like firing your best dude at work because he's been there forever, right?
Yeah.
Just for the sake of doing it and moving on, because you've been there for 20 years. So yeah, we will see about that too. But yeah, I was quite shocked. And you can find the video. Like I say, I wrote this down and stopped the whole video at lunch, writing notes so that I could get it right. But you can find it on any of whatever you're watching, X or whatever. So check that one out too. But we will see.
Very heavy words.
Mhm.
We'll continue to monitor that as we go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Our final break of the night, the UFO report with Tim James, continues right after this on Space
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
All right, there we go.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that whole unalive crap started on Facebook.
Mhm.
Then all the other woke sites started posting like you couldn't say things like death or dying.
Yeah.
You had to go to unalived and, you know,
Yeah.
make up all of these stupid terms to get around it. It's just like, you know, they block out words like not even if you mean it in the context. Like take for instance the word sex.
Mhm.
You know, they block that out, or
Right.
or they spell it with the E blacked out. Like we're stupid enough.
Yeah, or number 3 or something.
know,
Yeah.
I mean, look, why don't we go back to the 70s where women weren't allowed to show bare leg, you know, while wearing shorts? I mean, how stupid is it?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I mean, I understand that some of these words, for whatever reason, get flagged on YouTube or whatever. And they'll, it's a big
we're
to do, right?
we're just so sensitive these days.
Yeah.
Here's one. I don't know if you heard this one.
Mm-mm.
A hockey player in Ontario in the OHL, a junior hockey player,
Right.
was suspended for 5 games.
Okay.
Because he called his opponent a Mennonite.
Okay.
Suspended 5 games.
For calling somebody a Mennonite.
He called him a Mennonite, his religion. Yeah.
The dude was a Mennonite?
Yeah, called him a Mennonite.
You dirty bugger.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah, true story. Go look it up.
Well, the key is to say you're acting like. Then that way you're not accusing anybody.
Oh,
of
my
it.
goodness.
Oh, my God. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't
What have
get-
we become, people?
Oh, it's terrible.
It really is.
It's terrible. You know, like, have we really become that silly? I mean, that's not even sensitive anymore.
Mm,
It's silly.
I
know?
think so. I think it's
Oh, by the way,
yes.
I may have to deal with my son's school tomorrow. Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, my son's best friend is high functioning autistic.
Oh yes. Okay. Yep.
And the resident bully came in and was acting up and tried to hit my son's best friend.
Oh.
So my son's best friend, or my son, decked him.
Clobbered him? Good. I mean, oh wow.
No. My son got a high five today.
Yeah.
Okay. And a very proud.
Yep.
So this is what I'm going to do. If he gets in trouble in school tomorrow for it,
Mhm.
I'm going to ask the school point blank, did you call the police on the other boy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's what I see the problem being.
Yeah.
This boy has tortured my son and many others for the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many
Been through
times
it.
this boy has hit my son
Really, eh?
over the time? Right?
Hmm.
So I'm going to I'm hoping there's an incident. I'm really hoping there's
I know where you're going. Yeah, I get it.
I'm really hoping there's an incident because I'm going to make a spectacle out of it.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
I did that for my son.
You know,
Mhm.
and I'm really hoping. So yeah, my son punched him right in the face, and then while he was down, he went to boot him. Accidentally kicked him in the nuts. Right?
Take that, bully.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
This bully he's a coward.
Oh yes.
Okay. And so my question is going to be this. Okay, to the school. Okay, you're. I understand you don't like retaliation.
Mhm.
Okay, but did you call the police
Yeah.
on this boy who has been very threatening and physical with numerous children at this school?
Hmm. Yeah.
And if you haven't, well, let's make the phone call right now. I'll be down there,
Mhm.
and we can go make this phone call
Yeah.
together. And then they'll, well, we don't have to. Well, you don't have to punish my kid for doing what's right.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right.
Jeez.
So you got a choice: call the police, or I call my lawyer.
There you go.
Plain and simple.
Yep.
Right. Here we go. How's it going, everybody? This is Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio. Every time I like people who likes to talk about the weird stuff, we're in the UFO report with our good friend Tim James here. But before we bring Tim back on, I want to remind all of you that if you missed most of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/spaced out radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button, or join us on any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. All right, Tim, UFO report continues with you.
Yeah.
What do you got for us, my man?
Well, right now, I've actually got a couple of it happened this month or this week in UFO history. So I will start with this one here. This one was kind of weird. This one is from 1977, November, and this happened at 11 p.m. So an alarm sound at the Ellsworth Air Force Base, L09 missile site, 7 miles southwest of Nisland, South Dakota. 2 security men, Airman First Class Kenneth Jenkins and Wayne Rake, are dispatched to the scene. To the scene from Ellsworth. As Rake is inspecting the rear fence line, he allegedly sees a helmeted figure in a glowing green metallic suit. It points a weapon at Rake's rifle and causes it to disintegrate, burning his hands and arms. Jenkins helps him back to the security vehicle. When Jenkins goes back to the rear fence line, he sees 2 of these beings. They ignore his command to halt, so he opens fire on them. His bullets strike one of the shoulders and the other in the helmet. The figures run over the hill and Jenkins pursues them. He sees them entering a 20-foot diameter saucer-shaped object that shoots away over the horizon. As Rake is air evacuated, key point in this whole thing, air evacuated from the scene, investigators discover that the missile's nuclear components have been stolen. A follow-up inspection determined that Jenkins and Rake were real and on active duty, but everything else about the incident was bogus. It was also reported Rake had suffered no injuries after he was lifted to a hospital, and doesn't even know Jenkins. So they closed the case. It's like, what?
Of course they closed it. What?
Like, what?
Why do they want to keep that going? You don't need any aliens walking around here
No.
stealing nuclear codes.
That's right. Hang on a second. Dave and I are working behind, and they don't even know each other. Yeah, okay, right. So that was just kind of one of those, oh my God, you can't be serious, right? So another one that I found was November. It didn't even give me the year, actually. So November in history, 5:10 p.m. Japan Airlines flight 1628, a Boeing 747 cargo with a crew of 3, is in the vicinity of Fort Yukon, Alaska, on its way to Anchorage. The jet is carrying a cargo of French wine and is flying at 35,000 feet through darkening skies. A red glow from the setting sun lighting on one horizon and a full moon rising above the other, Captain Tushi and First Officer Tamafuji, along with Flight Engineer Tusakara, see two small objects and one huge Saturn-shaped object visually and on radar for more than 30 minutes. The objects follow the airplane for about 350 miles. The pilot changes course and the altitude several times, with FAA permission. In an effort to identify the objects, two rectangular appearing objects sparkling with an array of lights suddenly loom directly in front of them, one above the other. After a few minutes, they abruptly change position and appear side by side. They move quickly, stop suddenly, and swing from side to side in unison, as if linked together. VHF radio communications are occasionally garbled at this time and cease when the two objects move away to the left of the aircraft. Two flat white lights continue to pace the airplane, then drop back and are lost from view, both visually and on radar. So about 5:30 p.m., while in the vicinity of Fairbanks, the pilot checks a white light behind the plane and sees a silhouette of a gigantic spaceship. It is walnut-shaped, symmetrical above and below, with a central flange. He says it was very big. It was a very big one, 2 times bigger than an aircraft. At its closest point, the largest object casts such a bright light that it illuminates the cockpit, and the captain can feel the heat on his face. Radio communications again become garbled during the close approach. The crew become frightened by the large object and request permission to change course. After the course change, they look back and see the object is still following them. Increasingly fearful, they request a descent to get away from the UFO. We had to get away from that object. After they descend and turn again, the object disappears. The FAA at first confirms that several of its radar traffic controllers have tracked both the 747 and the large object, and that the U.S. Air Force radar has also done so. Later, official statements back away from this and try to ascribe the radar targets to weather effects. On December 29th, the FAA issued a report stating, "We are accepting the descriptions from the crew, but we are unable to support what they saw." End of report.
Now, what's interesting, because that's one of my favorite UFO stories.
See, I knew that.
Okay. What's interesting about that is they forced the 747 to land at Elmendorf Air Force Base.
Okay.
Where the pilots got interrogated big time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Over what they saw. Then I believe they sent another crew over to fly the 747 back to Japan, or that crew flew back to Japan, where they were fired.
Oh, wow.
They were fired by Japan Airlines for bringing shame to the airlines for what they had described that they saw.
Wow.
And it was only after a couple of years of scrutiny, because the main pilot had been a pilot with Japan Airlines for like 32 years.
Holy cow.
And he was one of Japan's most highly decorated commercial pilots that they've ever had at the time.
Wow.
And he was very much, put through the ringer through the media and very much, I don't want to say cursed out, but was, vilified by Japan Airlines for bringing shame. And eventually they were able, due to public pressure, they were able to get their jobs back. 2 of the 3 got their jobs back.
Okay.
Right. But they stood by their story. And this was one of the big reasons why, up until this point, many airline pilots refused to report anything because they didn't want to lose their jobs.
Huh.
Right. So that was very interesting. But you forgot a big one.
No. Did
Yeah.
I?
Yes, you did.
What did I forget, Dave?
Well, we should have talked about it last week, except it kind of skipped us.
Oh, my brain's...
We had a lot of other stuff on our mind.
Well, yeah.
November 14th, 2002 or 2004.
Whoa.
The USS Nimitz incident.
Oh, yeah. We did touch on it, I think, for about a nanosecond.
Yeah, it was about 38 seconds. But we have interviewed a number of those people on this show over the years, from Kevin Day to Sean Cahill to Gary Voorhees and a couple others who were on the USS Princeton. And Kevin Day is probably somebody we need to pay more attention to on that, because he's actually the man who sent the FA-18s over to investigate the Tic Tacs, which basically, that story in 2017 when it came out was the restart of ufology.
Right.
So it's very interesting to see how all of those ties of these big UFO stories seem to happen at this time of year. Have you got any more for us?
No, I was just ran through that, and I knew that you wanted to touch on.
I want to get
something.
to a story.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find it here.
Okay.
But there's something coming out right now that is actually pretty interesting, shall we say.
All right.
And it is called the telepathy tapes.
Yes. Yeah.
Did I get that right? Telepathy tapes?
I'm pretty sure you did. From what very little I saw of it, I was interested, but I had no clue what it was all about. So,
well, this has just kind of come out. I'm learning this as we go.
Okay, cool.
And if anybody gets a chance to go on X tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, Courtney Marcassani, a former UFO reporter here on Spaced Out, the person you replaced.
Yeah.
Big shoes.
Yeah.
That you filled nicely. She is actually going to be discussing the validation of these. So the telepathy tapes, and I had a bunch of this all brought up prior to this. Apparently there is training that you can do to telepathically speak.
Okay.
And they have tried it between animals and humans and humans to humans, especially with children.
Right.
Where they're thinking it's a little bit more than just intuition of a parent, that they're actually getting messages from their children telepathically.
Yeah.
And it is a lot. This is what Courtney tweeted out. We need to do a space on the telepathy tapes. Who is in? Anyone else a non-speaker in childhood? I was, and many of my good friends are on the spectrum. I don't know about you, but after hearing the few episodes, I see myself in many of you. Let's discuss. So these telepathy tapes are starting to take off. Now, I'm a big believer in telepathy.
Sure.
I think we have all had those type of telepathic communications that maybe we don't recognize as such. Maybe even some of those moments where we just knew.
Yeah.
We just knew that we could hear a voice in our head saying, hey, you got to go check something out. And you get there and there's a dangerous situation or, I've always thought there's this spiritual rumor that goes around that, when you forget something and you have to drive back home to get it, whether it's your keys, maybe not your car key, but maybe your house keys or your wallet or something along those lines that you just forgot that you needed for work, or you're late getting your kid to school because of it. There's a big spiritual rumor that basically says that spirit talking to you, forcing you to go back, because if you would have went down that path originally, you would have maybe been in a car accident or caught up in a shootout or something bad. Maybe an airplane falls from the sky and lands on top of your car at that moment. But because you chose to go back, that airplane keeps flying and there is no incident that occurs.
Right.
So there's all this kind of information that is kind of coming out about telepathy, and these telepathy tapes, which were just kind of found.
Yeah.
I don't even know where they came from. That's what I'm trying to track down right now. There's all these studies and tapes to inquire. Going to Joe Mergia at the UFO Joe, and this is usually where I go with a lot of this. He says, summary of the telepathy tapes. He says, so far, I am loving this. Certainly sounds like proof of telepathy.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, what surprised me was that of all of these people from various corners of the world, we're all saying a version of the same thing. They had a child diagnosed with non-speaking autism.
Yeah.
Doctors and or educators had told the parents their children would never communicate or perceive the world beyond the level of a toddler.
Mm-hmm.
However, through a leap of faith or a twist of fate, these parents discovered their kids were in there. And in these cases, the kids learned to communicate via an iPad or a letterboard. And once the kids were communicating, the parents discovered through various means their children could read their minds. And they would test this unbelievable assertion over and over again, only to find that it was true. That's by Kai Dickens. These kids were tested on camera by neuroscientist Dr. Diane Hennessy Powell, Kai Dickens, who Grant Cameron recently interviewed, who took us on this journey. Now, Joe is only through part 1. We're waiting for more of this to happen. I am definitely going to be tuning this in.
Yeah.
I need to know, because I am a firm believer that there is some sort of telepathic communication, right?
I believe it.
And I got one stupid story. I'm going to share this. I have a stupid story by it. So one night after the show, I go outside because I was looking for the Northern Lights.
Sure.
And this is before I had. So for people who don't know, I actually have a radio studio in my home that I call SOR HQ, SOR headquarters. And behind my home, I actually have this cherry tree. And it was around this time of year where it's getting cold. The cherries that are still on the tree are frozen, and the deer come around to eat them. So one night I go outside, it's completely dark. I turned my sensor light off, so that way it's completely dark.
Yeah.
I go outside because I want to see the Northern Lights are supposed to be out. And I kind of like the Northern Lights. And I heard this noise, and I look over at my cherry tree, and in the dark, I see a deer. And the deer sees me, stops chewing on the cherry, and starts to back away. And I said to the deer, I said, "Hi, honey, those are for you. Those cherries are for you on that tree.
Yeah.
You eat as many as you want, and you just continue on. Those are for you. You need to fatten up a little bit for the winter.
Yeah.
So you just go right ahead. You know, don't be scared. You don't need to back away. I'm not going to hurt you. You just continue on and do your thing." And she kind of looked at me, kind of did the head tilt.
Yeah.
And then head straight back up. As she looked up at the branches, and I said, "You go ahead. Those are all yours." And she started eating the cherry tree. Exactly like she could understand what I was saying. Now, maybe she felt safety in the tone of my voice.
Sure.
There is that possibility. Maybe, let's think logically here. It's not just like some nanu type stuff. Okay. But there was some, like, for me, it was communication with that wild animal.
Yep.
And yes, around our area, there's a lot of deer. They're used to humans. They're used to the voices. They're used to dogs and whatever. Okay. And I love it when the deer are in my yard, but that's just me.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I've often wondered, in my own little bizarre world, I've often wondered if that deer could understand me.
Yep.
Now, I could be completely wrong.
I don't know, man.
Okay. I totally could be completely wrong. But for me, it seemed correct. That deer understood what I was saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. I had a similar situation. They weren't eating cherries, but one got hit by a car. I came home and pulled in the driveway, and it got hit on the highway, and it was sitting in my backyard. And as soon as it saw me, and it had a broken back leg, and as soon as it saw me, got up, and it was like, "I'm out of here." And that's what I said. I was like, the same sort of thing. I was like, "Oh my God, no, just relax. I'm not coming down to hurt you. It's okay." Right? Had to call a CO in and take care of her. But it was like, yeah, it just felt cool because it felt like you were communicating with her and it was, yeah. I think you can. I think that's there. And I'm with you. I totally believe in telepathy, and yeah. And it could be the tone of your voice and stuff like that. But I prefer to maybe think a little bit outside of the box and say, yeah, maybe that it understood me. Right.
Well, and that's exactly it.
Yeah.
And the fact that nonverbal kids, I mean,
Yeah.
a lot, like my son's has a couple of best friends who are autistic.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that we have learned from them is their brilliancy.
Oh, no kidding, right?
Okay. They're high functioning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, they may be slower in a few other aspects.
Yeah.
Okay. But very high functioning and very, very smart.
Yep.
And the fact that maybe in that level of autism that those children have been able to figure out telepathy to communicate.
That's cool.
Like the power of that thought,
Mm-hmm.
if true, which I'm hoping it is.
No
man.
kidding, right?
And I hope they continue, because I really think that we're missing out on a huge part. And it's not just telepathy, me to you or me to the audience or whatever, because, you know, a silent show with me just going telepathic is going to be boring. It really is going to be boring, especially if you're watching on YouTube where, you know, I'm just going to be sitting there. You know?
Yeah, I get it.
It's not fun to watch. Because this is not a pretty mug. This is a face for radio.
Yeah, I get it.
But if we could figure that out,
Yeah.
what else could we communicate with?
Yeah. So
that
true.
all of a sudden, just like what our guest earlier tonight, Nancy, was saying, that all of a sudden turns the tides, that all of that communication with angels or aliens or Bigfoot, like Robin Haynes talks about being telepathic with Bigfoot.
Yeah.
If we can figure that out, man, that's a whole different unique style of the game that's about to be played.
And so cool.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Would love it. Would love it.
Now, by the way, Joe Monk says I have a face for print news. That's lovely.
I
lovely.
love Joe.
Tim, big thank you for coming on in tonight. What a lot of fun.
Definitely.
Some great news and great stories that you brought on. We will chat with you in a couple nights' time.
For
really
sure.
appreciate that. And a big Ron Bumblefoot rocking in the background. Little brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the sitting out every single show. Get your horns up, guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms, like YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, LinkedIn, Space Travelers Club, and on X, Space Travel Radio.
I know you're out there somewhere.
Remember, this show is copyright for Space Travel Radio. That's what Entries Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share with us, because together, my friends,
Don't make a mistake. We're watching.
we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot. Yes, the wood train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. She shall be your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for friends too. You can bunch up. It's a fun. Good night. I'm falling asleep with those telepathy tapes tonight.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, no more Richard Kuklinski. It's all telepathy tapes now.
Yeah. Yeah. When you told me about it today, I was just kind of stumbling through it, and it's like, holy crap, there's a plethora of people out there that are listening to him.
Jedi, my son has been taught not to hit first.
That's right.
Unless him or one of his friends gets hit. that it's all grab the jersey and pummel. I told him today, though, I said, no kicking. I said, you're not a soccer player.
Yeah, no.
Be a man. You're not a soccer player. All right, Dead Fish, how you doing? God, I hate soccer. That's a problem with fighting today. It's not clean anymore.
Wasn't it? Yeah, no.
Like, you go back 20, 30 years, only the real jerks who got their asses kicked afterwards were curb stomping people. You know what I'm saying?
True.
The rest of us, we were like, let's go by fists.
Mhm.
And at the end, sure, you may break a guy's nose or his arm or whatever.
know, right?
But when a guy was down, you didn't boot him in the head.
No.
There was none of that. See, that's all caused by soccer.
That's
all caused by soccer.
Yeah, no. And you know what? It's funny that I think a lot of my friends growing up, I think that's where I met them was, either me getting my butt handed to me or me handing their butt to them. And it was just this weird respect. But I mean, yeah, I think a lot of I could safely say a lot of my friends were friends because we beat the crap out of each other at one point.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a pecking order, but whatever. That was then. I remember way back. Oh, God.
I remember, you know what I do for a living?
Yes, I do.
I remember one time about 10 years ago, my bully came into my office.
Oh, from the past sort of thing?
My high school bully came into my office.
Weird.
For some paperwork. And he thought I was going to take care of him because we were friends in high school, which we never were.
No.
Let's just say I ate well that month.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Karma got him.
Good deal.
Karma got him.
Oh, lovely.
Yep. That felt good. Not going to lie. I'm still happy with that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when I was a kid, man, if you ever got, I think I did it once. I think I got thumped by some kid that was bullying me. And I went home and I'm crying. I think I was like 8. Walked in the house and my dad goes, "What are you crying about?" So I told him. He goes, "Okay, so you got your ass handed to you." He says, "You can either stop crying and accept it," or he says, "You go back there and finish it." I was like, well, I don't want to sit downstairs, so I'm going to go. Yeah, those are the days, man.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right. You didn't have 9 guys jumping in on you. It was one-on-one. And when it was over, it was over.
And usually you shook hands afterwards.
Yep. Yeah. Remember sitting at the principal's office a couple of times, and the guy sitting beside me that we just had we're in PE, and that's 9 times out of 10 where it happened because you're being all competitive and you get a little bit of an elbow in or you get a foot stomp, and all of a sudden then it broke into, and we'd be sitting. I remember one time this guy named Rick, he's sitting beside me and he looks over at me and I'm looking at him and he goes, "Man, that left one caught me right there." He says, "I think I'm going to be swollen up for a couple of days." I was like, "Yeah." And I'm looking at my fingers pointing at like at a 45-degree angle. It's like, "Oh yeah, that's dislocated." And we're laughing, right? Principal would come out and go, "You too." Then it'd be like, "Yeah, we're cool. We're cool. We're all good."
It's over.
Yeah, exactly.
It's over. Just let it go. It's over.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I understand that, violence is not good. Unless it's on the ice. And, I get that. I hated street fighting. I tried to avoid it. I think my entire life, I got my ass kicked once on the street. And that was in a bar fight where I was watching a bar fight. And all of a sudden this roid monkey comes running up and he shirts me he starts kneeing me. But he didn't really do any damage because I was smart enough to grab his leg, wrap my arms around his leg. So every time he went to knee me, I just lifted up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And I will tell you, I had some big friends who were friends of his.
Mm-hmm.
And the one guy, let's just say, was, we all have that one friend that is into a darker scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, oh, there's whatever the guy's name,
Sure.
Neil or whatever. I said, yeah, he tried to kick my ass. I said, what?
Uh-huh.
Neil, did you do this to him? Well, I was drunk. Smack.
Yep.
You don't ever do that to him. You don't lay a hand on him.
Yep.
Right? This is my friend. Hey, I'm sorry, man. Oh, no problem.
Yeah. No, I think the absolute worst ass kicking I got was from a guy that was probably about 90 pounds and about 5'2". He schooled me. I was being a jerk and we were in the bar and he come up and I made some stupid comment and he looked up at me, I'll take you outside. And I was like, yeah, let's go. Everybody's laughing. I think I got 2 steps out the door and that's all I remember besides pulling myself up off of the sidewalk. Everybody laughing their face off at me. It was like, and I deserved it, right? But I was like, holy.
I remember one time I had my knee done, like my knee operated on.
Yep.
So I was walking with a cane. I had a leg brace on. Big brawl fight, bar fight outside.
Right.
The good old days.
Oh, yeah.
The drunk hot tar roofers come in and if they're drunk on a Wednesday night, you're going to fight.
Oh, absolutely.
So one of my buddies was a bouncer at the bar and I'm just standing there.
Minding my own business.
And he's like, you know what? I can't let you guys in. You're too drunk.
Yeah.
Right. And they started getting belligerent with him. And I'm kind of just standing there watching. I'm about 12 feet away. and they start, oh, fuck you,
Yep.
This kind of stuff. And the one guy, and I'm just kind of looking, not even looking at the guy, and whap right across the jaw. Right. I chased this guy hobbling with my cane and my knee brace because I'm going to beat the tar out of this guy, right?
Come back, whippersnapper.
And I finally get him to come at me, right? And the red and blues come on. And guy ended up having like 4 warrants out for his arrest.
Perfect.
Right? And cop sees me. I'm all blood because I bit right through my lip, right?
Oh, I hate that.
I'm like, she's like, you want to press charges? I said, yeah, I do. I never did.
No.
Right? Because she told me he had warrants and all of this. Good enough. You take care of him. I'll see him again. You never saw him again.
No.
But
that's perfect.
Yeah. I mean, but I like here I am, like, I should be on my grandma's walker at this point, right? Right. Like I just had my ACL and MCL done like 5 weeks previous.
Trying to run down the street. I can just see it.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I remember I was on crutches. I can't remember what it was, something in the back of my calf. And doesn't matter. It was summer and I'm out there on crutches and it's like, this sucks. And my brother's friends were all out on their bikes and it was like, I don't get to do anything. So after a couple of days, they all started harassing me, right? Hey, Tim can't do it. And they're whipping around on their bikes. And there's this one kid and his name was Pete. I still remember it. He was the mouthiest little kid in the whole neighborhood. And he comes flying by and he called me something derogatory that I won't say, right? I just go with my crutch right into the freaking front spokes of his tire. Wham! Over the handlebars and right into one of those electrical boxes that people have on the Boom! Nice. Yeah, it was great. It was great. He was way younger than me, but I was like, man.
See, that's why like fighting in a controlled environment, like whether it's hockey or boxing or even UFC, is so much better.
Yeah. You didn't see the fight or the apparent fight with Tyson and Paul the other night?
No.
That was so staged. I've never seen anything so ridiculous in my life.
Heard a lot of that. But I mean, we got to remember too, that's an exhibition.
Oh, I know, but it just the punches were being pulled hard, right? I was like, there were so many openings that I looked a couple of times and I went, all right, I watched Tyson in his training. Those ribs would have been stuffed right through to Jake Paul's spine. It was like, whatever. He got 20 mil. What did Paul get? 30 mil. They're both happy campers, and they both walked out and being able to eat their soups and sandwiches at the end of the day. But God,
As staged it is, hi bombshell bomber. As staged it is as it is,
yeah,
people, you know what? The one thing I will give Jake Paul credit for is he's brought life back to boxing. They're not good matches.
no,
Okay, they're all exhibitions. They're not pro fights.
no,
And I often hear Logan Paul will say, my brother's a pro fighter. No, you're not a pro fighter.
yeah, no,
Okay, you haven't fought anybody pro yet. You've only fought exhibition.
true,
Okay,
true.
so, but on the flip side, dude, you don't make that kind of money unless you're a marketing genius.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it, right? That was
And to
it.
take boxing from the dead, because boxing's dead. It's a beautiful sport, but it's been so rigged
Yeah,
over the years. I mean, even me as a sports guy, dude,
Mm.
I couldn't name a single boxer.
yeah, true. Not
Today,
anymore.
I couldn't. I mean, going back even just a few years ago to like Pacquiao versus Mayweather,
Yeah,
that was good stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah. Man, what year was that? 84.
I was in a bar in Vegas when Pacquiao defeated Ricky Hatton.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and Hatton walks in with his entourage
Oh,
into this private bar that I'm at
yeah.
inside the Luxor, and I'm like, oh, hey, man.
I was just, that was it. It must have been 1985, 5. Doesn't matter. I just finished going through the recruiting center down in Vancouver, and I was going flying back east to start basic training. And we were staying at the Sandman Inn down at Georgia, down by the old, right beside CBC, right beside the CBC
Yeah.
building. So we were staying there, and they were having exhibition matches in one of the ballrooms down there. And we were going out to the bar. A bunch of us were going to head out, and I'm turning and I'm talking to one of the guys that I'm with, and I'm not paying attention, and it thunk. I was like, oh, turn around. Sugar Ray Leonard. That guy is tiny. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's super nice guy. Super. How come you guys aren't staying for the fights? And I was like, oh, what do you say to Sugar Ray Leonard? Yeah, I'm not into boxing. Like, we've got an appointment. We're going to go watch the Peelers. I don't know.
Whatever it may be.
Yep.
Whatever it may be.
How come you're not?
Hey, sweet Robbie G's got into the chat room here.
Rob,
Sweet Robbie G.
where the heck you been?
He's been tying his shoelaces.
Oh, he finally gave up the Velcro?
Finally gave up the Velcro and started tying his shoelaces.
Sorry, Rob.
No, that's funny.
I know it is. But we're Canadian. We apologize for everything.
I remember the last guy I fought in hockey.
Yeah.
Got rated best fight of the year. I'm left-handed. He's right-handed.
Oh,
And it was just open lane, straight facial shots, right?
Yep.
He busted my nose pretty good. So the whistle that you hear when I'm breathing out of my nose, that's because of him. Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. After the fight, he goes, "You don't know who I am, do you?" Like, no, man. He goes, "You're an idiot. My sister used to babysit you as a kid."
Oh,
I'm like, "Oh, okay." He goes, "Yeah, your sister and my sister used to be best friends." Like,
we're
oh, well,
gonna
that shit happens, right?
we're gonna remove that post
What post?
from Rob.
Oh, Rob.
Yeah, we can remove that post.
Well, I mean, you're talking about a guy who thinks soccer's a sport. So, I mean,
I really can't knock it because I coached it for like 12
Well,
years.
think of all those kids you defiled because of it.
Hey, some of those kids are playing for the Whitecaps and stuff now, or they were. Yes. It used to drive me nuts when they, somebody go in and get tagged in the ankle and they go down in a crumple. Like even my own players be rolling around on the ground, standing on the sidelines. Get up. You were watching Premier League this morning before you showed up, weren't you?
It's garbage.
Oh, God. Well, my brother played for Vancouver Fire. He played rugby, right? Rugby sevens. And on the back, what was it? A game for people that I can't remember what it was. A game for people that don't want to play soccer or something like that. I can't remember, but yeah, I remember. Yeah, for those who want to graduate from soccer, come play rugby sevens or something. And it's like, oh my God,
you can't do that. All right. Who's on tomorrow night?
What's his name?
Tomorrow night on the show, Little Barry Littleton will join us.
Little Barry Littleton.
Little Barrence Littleton. I love Barry Littleton. He is just one of the best dudes ever, and he's so knowledgeable on so many different topics of everything. I'm going to hit him up on this telepathy thing.
Yeah.
Barry, if anybody will know about it, Barry will know about it. He's just so rock star on all of that kind of stuff. So we're going to call it the night here. Big thank you to have a sweet Robbie G sighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
hopefully. Hey, Rob, are you posting? Are you doing right after the social dig?
Are we still talking about the fight?
I don't know. I'm waiting for Rob to respond. Are you going on your show right after this, Rob?
Oh, here he comes.
Earth to Rob. We're back, baby. Nice. All right.
Excellent.
So
but not
I'm going to
tonight.
end the stream here. I'm pretty sure. Oh, no, Rob's not having a show. You all got screwed by him. Never mind. Never mind.
Nice, Rob.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. Way to break the hearts of the millions
And
millions of the Robs fans. Yeah, I know. Big thank you tonight to T-Bone with a hat trick. Debaruni ×4. Simon. Mel WD40 with that lubed up chat. Slid that one right in there.
I know.
Didn't even notice. Didn't even notice. Barry Littleton tomorrow night, everybody. We'll talk to you then. Good night, guys.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.